Chapter 1578. Not just fighting beyond his level. Chapter 1578. Not just fighting beyond his level, it was Yemo's first time seeing such a magic artifact, a fist. As soon as the abstruse immortal released this fist magic artifact, the space nearby seemed to be gathered around, making Yemo unable to move in the middle. Yemo smiled. 4 months ago, he would immediately release his octagonal cauldron and then hack out with Zisu, but now he didn't care. That fist wind area seemed like the Star Realm wind whirlpool. Yemo had been in there for a few months, so how could he care about this? The instant the fist space whirlpool formed, it made a loud thud. Countless immortal essence emanated from that huge fist magic artifact, forming countless immortal essence wind flows. They gradually formed into thousands of fist shadows, completely looming over Yemo. The distant pond water was stirred up by the explosive immortal essence power. Zhang Bingyu and Wang Yi realized that this man wanted to kill Yemo with one move. Zhang Bingyu's face changed. He didn't even use this move when fighting with her. There was no way Yemo could move now that he was caught in this. He could only watch as he got killed. Just when Zhang Bingyu wondered whether she should go help, she saw a purple ray hack out from the fist shadows, but it didn't seem to stop this endless fist barrage. The fist shadows still all hit Yemo. Wang Yi was dazed. He thought Yemo had something to be able to hunt shadowless vultures and kill all those wolves. Even if he couldn't beat an abstruse immortal cultivator, he shouldn't be killed in one move. With that many fist shadows, even if it hit an abstruse immortal, it was certain death, much less for Yemo. How could Yemo not know that this abstruse immortal wanted to kill him? Seeing this, he was going to show no mercy. He would take this and retaliate. This could indeed kill an ordinary abstruse immortal, but he was no ordinary abstruse immortal. He had reached God's state peak stage. This level of attack might heavily injure him, but if he wanted to end the battle fast, he would trade injury with life. Yemo used his God state body refinement to the extreme and hacked out with Zisu, Illusion Cloud Hua Mountain. He also wanted to kill this abstruse immortal with one move. The abstruse immortal saw that Yemo could still counterattack under his barrage and was worried. He used even more immortal essence. But soon he felt something was wrong. His countless fist shadows seemed to have struck a very sturdy magic artifact. There were just thudding noises, not the shower of flesh and blood he had expected. Not good, a purple figure hacked down. He felt a powerful binding. The abstruse immortal was shook. This was the first time he saw a golden immortal primary stage use a sword domain. In his shock, he couldn't care about killing Yemo. He used the immortal essence in his body like crazy, trying to shift his body away. Splurge blood flashed, and this abstruse immortal primary stage's armor and half a shoulder were hacked down. Yemo almost spat blood. He knew that the fist barrage had injured him. He sighed. An abstruse immortal was so much more powerful than a golden immortal. If it was a golden immortal peak stage, this strike would be enough to kill him, but he only took an arm. He could kill the Void Wolf Pack that countless abstruse immortals couldn't kill, but that didn't mean he was stronger than abstruse immortals. That abstruse immortal stared at Yemo in shock. He didn't consider this golden immortal primary stage a threat, but that was his full-powered attack. Even an abstruse immortal wouldn't be able to ignore it, and yet this golden immortal primary stage dared to take it, and took off his shoulder and arm. He finally realized why Wang Yi was so polite to this guy. If he knew this guy was this absurd, he wouldn't think of trying to kill him even if he didn't get an immortal spirit herb. He knew his fist shadows trapped Yemo, and those terrifying attacks struck his body. Why was he fine? Unless God's state body refinement, or even beyond it. The abstruse immortal thought of this, and there was terror in his eyes. If Yemo was really God's state body refinement or beyond, would he be able to run? Thinking about how he flew across the sky with his magic artifact, the abstruse immortal gave up trying to run. He looked pleadingly at Wang Yi and forgot to even take out a recovery pill. Wang Yi was still in shock. Yemo's power was far beyond his control. Seeing his friend look over, he shook and saluted with his fists. Brother Yi, Wang Chun is my friend. Can you forgive him this time on my account? The cultivation realm and immortal realm were the same. In the wake of power, everything else didn't matter. There was no reason. Yi Mo nodded. On Brother Wang's account, I'll let him go. Yi Mo knew that although Wang Chun lost an arm, if they really fought again, he would still be injured. It was best to end it here, plus it wasn't good to be heavily injured in here. Wang Yi was a good person, so he might as well give it to him. Plus, he didn't have to kill Wang Chun. If it was him, he wouldn't agree too. Thank you, Brother Yi. Wang Wei didn't expect Yi Mo to agree, and immediately thanked Yi Mo happily. He picked up the broken arm and gave it to Wang Chun. He felt happy. At least now when he was with Wang Chun, he would have more power. Wang Chun quickly ate a few pills and connected the arm back. Zhan Bingyu looked dazedly at Yi Mo. Now she didn't doubt at all that Yi Mo killed all the wolves himself. Yi Mo was clearly a god-state body refinement or beyond to be able to take on that fist magic artifact. Body refinement cultivators were extremely rare, and those with accomplishments were rarer. If her master guessed right, then Yi Mo was an immortal pill great master too. Regardless, easily defeating an abstruse immortal primary stage as golden immortal primary stage, this was unheard of. There were cases of golden immortals beating abstruse immortals, but the most absurd case was golden immortal middle stage. Wang Yi saluted with his fists. I'll go collect the immortal spirit herbs. I'll go do it, Yi Mo quickly said. That's fine. Wang Yi nodded and didn't move. He didn't think that Yi Mo didn't believe him. After all, who could go as fast as Yi Mo in here? Yi Mo probably wanted to see if there was anything else. Who wasn't smart here? Since level 5 immortal spirit herbs could grow here, who knew whether there was something special? Yi Mo went first, probably wanting to take whatever supported the growth of the immortal spirit herbs. From his battle performance, neither Zhan Bingyu nor Wang Yi wanted to offend Yi Mo. Yi Mo thought so indeed. Brother Wang, thank you for just now. Wang Chun saluted with his fists. Wang Yi was satisfied on the inside, but waved his hand calmly. No need, we're all friends. Wang Chun hesitated and sound transmissioned. Brother Wang, who is this Yi Mo? He's golden immortal primary stage, and yet he's this powerful? I'm certain he didn't hide his power. Wang Yi looked at Yi Mo's back but didn't use sound transmission. He said, if you know why Brother Yi flew over so fast just then, you wouldn't want to fight him. Why? Wang Chun whispered this time. Chapter 1579. Just how cocky is he? Chapter 1579. Just how cocky is he? Zhan Bingyu heard this and also listened in. She really wanted to know what Yi Mo was doing so cockily on the flying immortal artifact. Because he went to hunt shadowless vultures. That shadowless vulture probably ambushed him, so he chased up and killed it. Wang Yi looked at Wang Chun and replied, What? Wang Chun was dazed. There were people here hunting shadowless vultures? Just how cocky was he that he went to fight something like that? Zhan Bingyu was dazed too. She didn't expect Yi Mo went to hunt shadowless vultures. Was that something that could be hunted? This was the first time she heard this. She felt there were more and more secrets about Yi Mo. She even wanted to ask if Yi Mo was Pill Master Great Master. If so, she really wanted to give her share to Yi Mo for pill concoction. Knowing this, Wang Chun completely lost his attitude. He even gave up the thought of revenge. Yi Mo was standing opposite the pond now, and the 4 6-winged radishes were squeezed in a small rink. There was a mark on the outside, and a thin stream of water flowed over. Seeing this, Yi Mo realized why they appeared here. This was a natural stealth formation, and the rock was charged open by the water. After a long time, the rock fell into the lake, and thus the 4 immortal spirit herbs could be found with spirit sense. Yi Mo carefully dug one up, and immediately felt the extremely dense immortal spirit chi below it. Yi Mo felt it with his hands, and a cool liquid flew around his finger. Yi Mo was shook. This was a low-grade hidden ice immortal well. There were many types of immortal wells: low-grade, middle-grade, top-grade, and extreme-grade. There were also elemental immortal wells. Other than the 5 elements and wind, lightning, and ice, there were also hidden immortal wells. The reason hidden immortal wells were good and favored was because their purity was high and easily to digest. A low-grade hidden ice immortal well was even better than an ordinary top-grade immortal well. It also had a special feature, and that was that it couldn't be moved away, and one must stay here to cultivate. If it was moved, it would become an ordinary immortal well. Yi Mo calmed his excitement and took the 4 immortal spirit herbs before throwing a stealth formation disc here. Moments later, Yi Mo came back out. Zhen Bingyu and Wang Yi looked over immediately. Yi Mo took out 2 radishes and gave one to Wang Yi and one to Zhen Bingyu. Wang Yi gave one to Wang Chun and then saluted with his fists. "Thank you, Brother Yi. If you don't have any plans, how about we go deeper together?" He admired Yi Mo's power, and it would be good if they could go together. Zhen Bingyu didn't leave, and waited on the side. Yi Mo smiled and saluted with his fists. "Brother Wang, I can't go with you. I found a low-grade immortal well down there, so I want to cultivate here for a while." Yi Mo knew he couldn't hide it from them, so he admitted it. He didn't say it was a hidden immortal well, or there might be a battle. Now that Yi Mo said this, they understood. It was good, but they wouldn't fight over it with Yi Mo for it. Seeing Zhen Bingyu waiting on the side, he saluted with his fists. "In that case, I'll be going first. Perhaps we'll meet again somewhere in here." Then the two left. "Martial Sister Bingyu, thank you for your reminder and saving my life once," Yi Mo thanked. "No need," Zhen Bingyu said, but she didn't leave. Yi Mo felt strange. Where was that Hai Chuanwu? Why wasn't he by her side? "If you have nothing else, I'm going to cultivate. I just found a low-grade immortal well," Yi Mo repeated, but she didn't leave. How was he to cultivate? After she left, he would set up a stealth, defense, and even an attack formation. Zhen Bingyu could tell Yi Mo was implying for her to leave, so she could only say, "Pill Master Yi, you said you were a level 4 immortal pill great master at the sect." Yi Mo heard this and immediately realized what she wanted. If it was before, he would agree without hesitation because she saved her. But ever since seeing the Freedom King, Yi Mo's attitude changed. He felt that the reason he hadn't been caught was because his power was too low and he came into contact with low-level cultivators. If he suddenly became an immortal pill great master, many great immortals would come to him. If that was the case, he wouldn't be able to keep a secret. He even regretted helping Feng Chuanma. Yi Mo rejected without hesitation. "Martial Sister Bingyu, you should know that I said that intentionally. Gongsun Ziyu is a love rival. Of course I'm going to ridicule him. If I was really a level 4 immortal pill great master, I would tell Nianmei's father straight up. Would I need to compete?" Zhen Bingyu thought and agreed. If Yi Mo was truly a level 4 immortal pill great master, he wouldn't even need to compete. If the sect leader knew the son-in-law was level 4 immortal pill great master, he wouldn't even be able to stop laughing. How could he not agree? Zhen Bingyu sighed in disappointment. Gongsun Yin was a level 5 immortal pill great master. Even if he tried to concoct the snow wing pill, he might fail. She only had one. In that case, goodbye. Zhen Bingyu saluted with her fists and was about to leave. Yi Mo felt ashamed rejecting someone who saved him, but he wouldn't promise to help because of this. This concerned his life. After walking about 10 meters, Zhen Bingyu suddenly turned back and asked, "Are you a body refinement immortals?" Yi Mo didn't hide this. Everyone could tell after that battle. "That's right, I'm a body refinement cultivator. I haven't reached body refinement immortal yet," Yi Mo answered. Only after Nirvana was one considered a body refinement immortal. "Then where did you get your body refinement cultivation method?" Zhen Bingyu's eyes lit up. He thought she would ask what state he was, but instead she asked this. Yi Mo answered, "In a rare opportunity, one got a jade slip, and there was a body refinement cultivation method there." Zhen Bingyu said without hesitation, "Then can you copy one for me? Name your price. If I don't have enough immortal crystals, you can give me a part, and I'll give you more when I get back to the sect." Yi Mo looked at Zhen Bingyu in confusion. Such a beautiful female cultivator wanted body refinement? Yi Mo had been through body refinement. How could he not know that body refinement required one to be naked and facing life and death in terrifying conditions? If Zhen Bingyu cultivated body refinement, would she be like this? Yemo suddenly felt he was too shameless. He subconsciously patted his head. Seeing Yemo not talk and just slap his head, Junbingyu frowned and asked again, "If it's not okay, then never mind." "Of course I can, but you saved me so I don't need immortal crystals. My body refinement cultivation method only reaches immortal spirit body primary stage," Yemo said. There was extreme surprise and joy in Junbingyu's eyes. She didn't expect Yemo had an immortal spirit body refinement cultivation method. Body refinement cultivation methods weren't abundant even in the immortal realm. Chapter 1580. Lust in the Eyes of the Ice Girl. Chapter 1580. Lust in the Eyes of the Ice Girl, I want it, Junbingyu said without hesitation. Clearly Yemo's body refinement cultivation method was not ordinary. Cultivating to immortal spirit body primary stage was enough for Junbingyu. How many in the immortal realm could reach immortal spirit body? Yemo nodded and took out a blank jade slip, writing down all his body refinement cultivation method. As for the body refinement cultivation method after immortal spirit body, it wasn't that Yemo couldn't calculate it, but he wanted to do it after he reached immortal spirit body. That way, the cultivation method would be more perfect. Pill Master Yi, thank you. How many immortal crystals for this cultivation method? Junbingyu just scanned it casually and rejoiced. She came from a big sect. She knew Yemo's body refinement cultivation method wasn't ordinary. Yemo waved his hand. I've said that this body refinement cultivation method is for saving my life. Don't worry about the immortal crystals. I will take it the next time we have a deal. Junbingyu carefully put the jade slip away and bowed to Yemo, Martial Brother Yi. Thank you. This was the first time she called Yemo Martial Brother. Clearly, she was very grateful to Yemo for giving her the cultivation method. Seeing that Yemo had no intention to speak, she said, Martial Brother Yi Nianmei and Chuanma are both kind-hearted girls. Dao partner dual cultivation is the cultivation of life. One is enough, more would only be harmful. Yemo patted his head speechlessly. You said it once already, I know. Seeing that Yemo was annoyed, Junbingyu sighed. Martial Brother Yi, you're not old but your power is absurd, and you're an immortal pill master and a body refinement cultivator. From this it can be seen that your future is limitless. Other than competing, cultivation is also about self-discipline. Lust is just temporary satisfaction. If you hinder your great Tao due to this, you will regret greatly when you wake up. Yemo stared dazedly at this extremely beautiful cold woman. He didn't expect her to be so straightforward. This would be embarrassing for most female cultivators, but she said it so naturally. Did your master teach you? Yemo suddenly asked after being dazed for a while. Yes, because you don't have a master. I am saying this to you, Junbingyu said with her never-changing cold face. Yemo waved his hand. Thank you. He no longer had the will to talk. This woman only had good looks, but other than that she was cold inside and outside. One could imagine her master must be like her too. This time, she said no more and saluted with her fists before quickly leaving. Soon she disappeared. Seeing her leave, Yemo finally breathed easy. He immediately came back to the well and started setting up formations. First was a stealth formation, second was a defense formation, third was a spirit sense barrier formation and an attack formation. There probably wouldn't be any great immortals here. Even if there were, they wouldn't so coincidentally see this pond. 3 days later, Yemo finished with the formations and set up another touch activation restriction before taking out the time formation disc. Yemo set up the time formation disc and sat on the hidden ice immortal well to start cultivation. Yemo devoured the dense immortal spirit chi. That extremely pure immortal spirit chi rapidly washed Yemo's meridians, purifying his immortal essence and condensing his essence spirit. Now, Yemo truly felt the power of 3 birth chant. It could digest any element immortal spirit chi to increase his power, from the pure lightning source to the hidden ice immortal well. At the same time, a blue figure passed the rock forest rapidly. This stone forest was the famous Wind Blade Stone Forest in the Chaos Star Realm. It was one of the best body refinement places here. The wind blades were weaker at the border, but the deeper you went it would be filled with more space wind blades and even space blade tornadoes. This blue figure was Zhen Bingyu. There weren't many great eternity immortal sects with a body refinement cultivation method until immortal spirit body. Even some status immortal sects wouldn't have such things, and yet EMO just threw one to her. Most body refinement cultivation methods were hard to start, and many cultivators couldn't make the first step in their entire lifetime. So before body refinement, Zhen Bingyu was prepared for failure. Zhen Bingyu chose a place with space wind blades that weren't very powerful and let the space wind blades hit her body. She didn't stop them, and instead used the cultivation method for the first state, bone state. Immediately, she was shook. She ran her immortal essence along the routes, and there wasn't any blockage. In less than 2 minutes, she reached bone state. This body refinement cultivation method is fake? Zhen Bingyu frowned, but thinking of EMO, it didn't seem like he gave her a fake. She didn't stop cultivation and continued to practice the cultivation method. 15 minutes later, she found in shock that she was bone state peak stage. How was this possible? Zhen Bingyu was almost about to curse, reaching bone state peak stage in 15 minutes. Even the best cultivation method and best talent wouldn't be able to do this. Zhen Bingyu looked at her torn clothes. In a moment, she only had a very thin layer of armor, but she wasn't embarrassed at all. She let herself stand naked in the wind blades. That curvaceous body would make anyone admire it, but the blood gashes brought upon by such silky smooth body just seemed more shocking. However, Zhen Bingyu was frowning and thinking why EMO gave her a fake body refinement cultivation method. She shook her head and was about to leave, but she found that her body formed a light golden wave as she used the body refinement cultivation method. The injuries instantly recovered. She knew that there would be a golden ripple when one reached bone state peak stage. This situation clearly told her that she reached bone state peak stage. It's real? Zhen Bingyu looked at the golden ripple and was completely dumbfounded. The golden ripple couldn't completely stop the space wind blades, but it could stop them from cutting open her skin. Zhen Bingyu couldn't control her excitement anymore. She shakily took out the jade slip Yi-Mo gave her. No wonder Yi-Mo's cultivation was so rapid. His body refinement cultivation method was definitely a treasure of this world. Since he could get this, it meant that he got other things such as his pill concoction skills. Reaching bone state peak stage in 15 minutes, if this cultivation method was spilled, the entire immortal realm would go crazy. Zhen Bingyu subconsciously shivered and quickly destroyed the jade slip after memorizing it. She had decided to tell EMO that he must not spill this body refinement cultivation method or he would die. Then, Zhen Bingyu decided to focus completely on body refinement. 6 days later, Zhen Bingyu successfully reached 4th state, and she realized that the reason she cultivated so fast was not only due to Yi-Mo's body refinement cultivation method, but also because of her abstruse immortal power. After all, her abstruse immortal power meant that her body was far stronger than the 3 master states of body refinement. But even so, she knew this body refinement cultivation method was definitely a treasure. 2 months later, she successfully reached hollow state of the 3 king states. Half a year later, Zhen Bingyu reached king state peak stage before her cultivation speed slowed down. She knew that it was impossible to reach god state here. She just walked out of the stone forest naked and cleansed her body before putting on clothes. Chapter 1581. Skeleton at the Bottom of the Well. Chapter 1581. Skeleton at the bottom of the well. She didn't have much trouble reaching king state peak stage after this half year of cultivation. She felt that without a good cultivation method, you would be much worse compared to others no matter how hard you tried. Yi-Mo was tortured by the space wind blades and chaos flows before reaching king state, but Zhen Bingyu was much stronger than Yi-Mo, so she didn't have much trouble reaching king state. As soon as she left the stone forest, she wanted to go find EMO and tell him he couldn't spill this jade slip. Not long after she left, a figure suddenly dropped from the sky and splat on the ground. Zhen Bingyu immediately stopped and released her black sword. She knew that the cultivator fell from the sky due to the shadowless vulture ambush. This was why she admired Yi-Mo before. Yi-Mo definitely was powerful to be able to hunt shadowless vultures here. It was a pity she only saved Yi-Mo once and couldn't ask for his cultivation method for this. Half a moment later, Zhen Bingyu was certain the shadowless vulture was gone before looking at the dead cultivator. He was golden immortal tertiary stage, and his storage ring was gone. Zhen Bingyu knew that the vulture took it. They were extremely smart. The dead cultivator also had a messenger flying sword, but it wasn't sent out. Zhen Bingyu scanned it and immediately saw the message inside. Extreme Star Swamp, 1,000 kilometers west. A chaos blue reed appeared. I am being hunted. Chaos blue reed? Zhen Bingyu's hands shook and almost dropped this flying sword. This was extremely precious, more precious than a level 9 immortal spirit herb. If news got out, people would go crazy. A chaos blue reed could not only allow any immortal to rebuild his body, but the body would be top grade. This was the weakest use of it. If directly consumed, it could allow a great eternity immortal to reach an immortal king. The reason there were so few status immortals in the 33 heavens was because it was too hard to reach. Having immortal crystals and talent alone wasn't enough. To her, she was most excited about it because it was the best immortal spirit herb for body refinement nirvana, but it was too extravagant to use it on nirvana. If one could get the chaos blue reed, no one would want to use it for body refinement. So this meant that when this cultivator found the chaos blue reed, another cultivator found it too. This cultivator tried to notify his friend, but was killed to seal off the news. His body was here, so where was the cultivator who hunted him? Zhen Bingyu frowned and soon guessed that this cultivator wanted to run, and in his desperation could only use his flying magic artifact. That cultivator also chased with flying magic artifact, so they were both killed by shadowless vulture. She quickly cast these thoughts aside. She was king state now, and even though god state was hard, she would be able to reach there in a few years' time with Yi-Mo's cultivation method. Then, she would be facing body refinement nirvana. She must get the chaos blue reed. Zhen Bingyu soon made up her mind. She had been in here for a few months and still hadn't gone to the depth because she wanted to get used to this place first. But now she was, and reached king state too. It was time to go to the extreme star swamp. After that, she would plan to go to level 2 for her trial. She would have to delay warning Yi-Mo. She knew about this extreme star swamp. In the Chaos Star realm, you couldn't use Immortal Essence and Spirit Sense in many places. But in the Extreme Star Swamp, the Spirit Sense and Immortal Essence suppression was almost non-existent. You can only rely on your own body. Of course, magic artifacts that didn't require Spirit Sense control were also good. Zhen Bingyu immediately thought of Yi-Mo. To him, this swamp was the best place. His body refinement cultivation was much higher than hers, and looking at his sword ray, it was more like sword technique rather than sword art. But she didn't dare to go call Yi-Mo. If there was only one chaos blue reed, she was certain that Yi-Mo wouldn't give it to her. She was grateful that Yi-Mo gave her body refinement cultivation method, but she still went to the swamp alone without hesitation. After half a year of solitary cultivation, Yi-Mo reached Golden Immortal Middle Stage and felt the exhaustion of the Hidden Ice Immortal Well. Another few days later, Yi-Mo felt that Immortal Well had completely disappeared before putting away the Time Formation Disc and his formations. The cultivation effect of the Immortal Well was too good, but there was too little. Yi-Mo didn't leave immediately. He felt that since the well came below the pond, he should go down and see. Who knew what good things could be down there? When Yi-Mo carefully went into the pond, he realized how piercing cold it was. It was on par with the South P State's Ice God Forbidden Grounds. The only difference was that you couldn't feel it until you went inside it. When Yi-Mo dived for tens of kilometers without reaching the bottom, he felt things weren't right. He slowed down and released his octagonal cauldron. 5 minutes later, Yi-Mo saw the bottom of the pond. He even suspected this place was more than 100 kilometers deep. This was the first time he had seen such a deep pond. There was no mud at all at the bottom. Instead, there were flat stone blocks. After walking for about 30 minutes, Yi-Mo was getting more and more shocked. Before he went in, the surface of the pond was only about 10,000 square meters, but now it seemed more than 1,000 times that. This place seemed like a perfectly flat square. Yemo searched for hours and found nothing meaningful. Just when he wanted to leave, he found an extremely weak stealth restriction. Yemo carefully entered it and immediately felt an ancient sensation. Yemo released Zisu and carefully scanned his spirit sense around. Moments later, he saw what it was. Tens of meters ahead of him sat an immortal. The ancient sensation came from him, but this immortal was just a skeleton now. He was definitely an ancient powerful being. Yemo exclaimed and carefully walked near this immortal. There was a faint golden color emitting from the skeleton. It was in this cold water for countless years, and yet it was completely fine. There was a sliver of black in the front of the bones. The skeleton only had one hand left. Its only hand grabbed a golden staff, but it had no storage ring. Yemo carefully scanned his spirit sense on the skeleton. When his spirit sense reached the eyes, a terrifying power seeped out of the eyes. Yemo's body shook and his essence spirit loosened up. He couldn't even control his movement and took tens of steps back. There, Yemo stared at the bones in shock. He clearly felt no life. Why was there such terrifying killing chi? You're alive after a while, Yemo asked. There was no reply. Yemo breathed easy. Just what power level was this guy when he lived? He had been dead for all these years, but the remnant chi he had could force a golden immortal middle stage back so many times. This person was definitely countless times stronger than the Freedom King. Yemo's spirit sense fell on that staff. He knew it was definitely a top-grade magic artifact. He was an immortal forgery master, but still couldn't tell what level it was. Although Yemo knew the golden skeleton was a priceless treasure, he had no interest in this body. He would take the staff and go. This wasn't a place to stay for long. Thinking about this, Yemo tried to take the staff with his spirit sense. You're not the fated one. Another extremely powerful force shook him further away. Those words were imprinted in his brain. Qianbei's essence spirit is still alive. Yemo asked with uncertainty. If this person even had just a sliver of essence spirit left, he wouldn't be able to get up from here. Only a status immortal can be fated. Come back after you become a status immortal. That message appeared in his brain. Yemo was certain that the skeleton had sliver of essence spirit left and quickly bowed. Wanbei was impulsive and broke into Qianbei's solitary cultivation grounds. Wanbei will leave now and promise not to spill this place out. If in the future you can go to Fandu, Heaven's 9-fan immortal pond, and kill Yu Jinxiang for me, I will immediately give you something you really need and another powerful heritage. A message appeared in his mind again. Yemo sneered. Fandu Heaven was one of the 11 grand heaven domains. Going there to kill someone was suicide. Plus, he already had enough good things. The staff was good, but dying for it was not worth it. Plus, this essence spirit didn't even force him to make an oath. Things clearly weren't ordinary. Seeing there was no resistance, Yemo accelerated and quickly left from this broken stealth formation. As soon as he came out, he received another message. Sai, you don't even care about the Chaos Blue Reed. Yemo was shook. As an immortal pill great master, he knew what it was better than anyone. It was the best body refinement nirvana immortal spirit herb. Its value wasn't something ordinary level 9 immortal spirit herbs could compare with. Yet this person knew he needed it the most now. If it was some other immortal who was God State peak stage, he definitely would turn back, but Yemo was used to seeing things much better than the Chaos Blue Reed. The Chaos Blue Reed was precious, but since there was life-threatening danger, he didn't want to stay here. This essence spirit could send messages in his brain so easily. Even though he wasn't afraid of possession, he didn't want to stay here. Without hesitation, he turned his head back, fleeing with water mobility. The reason he turned back was to confuse the skeleton. Regardless whether skeleton tried to keep him or not, Yemo would leave first out of safety. If that skeleton indeed wanted to attack him trying to get him to go back, perhaps that action might buy a second for him. Indeed, As soon as Emo used mobility, a powerful spirit sense charged into his octagonal cauldron. Even though Emo had a spirit sense cultivation method, he felt extremely weak and immediately spat blood. This skeleton indeed wanted to harm him. But that spirit sense could only attack Emo once and couldn't keep hunting him anymore. Emo charged to the side quickly and fell to the ground panting for breath. That was too close. Luckily, he was golden immortal middle stage and was vigilant and wasn't lured by the chaos blue reed. Otherwise, he wouldn't just be dead. He was certain that the skeleton used a spirit sense cultivation method, one that was more powerful than his. But Emo didn't understand why the skeleton didn't attack when he first entered the stealth formation and instead attacked after he left. Emo sat down after a while and found in shock that his spirit sense was extremely weak and couldn't even recover. Now, he realized why the skeleton didn't attack when he first went in. The skeleton could only use it once, and he saved it for possession. Seeing that he was going, he got worried. More than half of his power was related to spirit sense. What would he do if his sea of consciousness was damaged just due to one attack? This person only had a sliver of essence spirit left, and there was such a distance between them and in a rush, yet he could still heavily injure his spirit sense. Just how powerful was this person? This cultivator's spirit sense was so powerful, meaning that he had a powerful spirit sense cultivation method. If he was closer, even a great unity immortal cultivator would be killed. Emo panted. His body was still very weak and his spirit sense was greatly damaged. Now, he couldn't even gather up his immortal essence. He slowly got up. Despite knowing that skeleton couldn't come to the surface, Emo didn't want to stay here anymore. If he knew there was such a terrifying skeleton below, he wouldn't dare to cultivate here for half a year. Luckily, he had many corner soul weeds. He couldn't take them out now, but if he recovered a little spirit sense he could. He needed to find a place to recover his spirit sense now. He couldn't use his spirit sense, so he couldn't connect to the golden page world and go in. Emo was very careful. He knew that there was a huge blue rock on the way he came, and there was only 5 minutes distance to it. As long as he got near there, he would be able to hide inside, recover some of his sea of consciousness, and go into the golden page world and use corner soul weeds. Emo only walked out for less than 15 minutes when a blue figure rapidly came over. There was someone chasing behind the blue figure. The blue figure seemed heavily injured. Moments later, that figure was in front of Emo. When he saw who that cultivator was, Emo almost cursed. It was that cold-faced Jinbingyu. Her hair was messy and blood was all over her body. When he saw her, she also saw him. There was surprise and joy in her eyes, and she quickly said, "Martial brother, ye please help." Emo carefully moved to the side, meaning, "Keep running, this has nothing to do with me." But Jinbingyu didn't notice at all. She went to Emo's side and stopped. She released her black sword and hacked over at the chasing abstruse immortal with a sword mist. This was an abstruse immortal middle stage. Jinbingyu was no match for him even if she wasn't injured, but now she was heavily injured. "I'll hold this person here. Quickly attack." Jinbingyu thought Emo would immediately attack as Emo gave her the impression that he knew when to take the best opportunity. She believed that Emo would help no matter what. This person was an abstruse immortal middle stage, and if Emo killed him, his storage ring would be a fortune. Plus, she knew Emo. But what shook her was that Emo didn't even move and yelled instead, "Help my ass, what direction can't you run to? Why do you have to run over here? You only haven't seen me for half a year, do you miss me this much? You idiot." Emo could not be furious. This was his weakest moment. He was meat on the chopping block, but Jinbingyu brought over such a powerful enemy. And since Jinbingyu was no match for him, after she was killed, he would be next. But now, he couldn't even use his final means and go into the golden page world. How could he not despair? Emo could not be furious. This was his weakest moment. He was meat on the chopping block, but Jinbingyu brought over such a powerful enemy. And since Jinbingyu was no match for him, after she was killed, he would be next. But now, He couldn't even use his final means and go into the golden page world. How could he not despair? Zhen Bingyu frowned, seeing that Yi Mo didn't attack, but when Yi Mo cursed, she felt something wasn't right. At this moment, her sword mist had been broken, and before she could take her sword back, countless dark rays shot over. A huge black dragon magic artifact roared over. Zhen Bingyu knew that if she was caught by that, she would be dead for sure. She didn't have the time to think and released a rainbow cloud stamp. It blocked the area in front of her. She knew it wasn't enough to stop it, but she couldn't care that much anymore. Thud, thud, the black rays shot on the rainbow stamp, but even so, it couldn't block the rest. With a splurge, a dark ray pierced her right rib, and another dark ray shot into Yimo's chest. His body refinement was powerful, but he hadn't gone through nirvana yet. Zhen Bingyu immediately realized why Yi Mo called her an idiot. He was heavily injured too, much more serious than her. The cultivator she brought over was going to kill Yi Mo. Realizing this, Zhen Bingyu spat out essence blood and released a rune. The sky rattled heavily, and the rune brought about a space wind storm, as though about to tear the person caught in it to countless pieces. The abstruse immortal middle stage knew the terrifying power of this rune, and immediately released a defense magic artifact while retreating. He didn't believe she would be able to get away. So, what if she had a rune? Did she have more? Zhen Bingyu took out another rune, however, and spat another mouthful of blood of essence blood. Instant transmission rune. Yi Mo cursed. After she left with that rune, he would still have to die. Having a great eternity immortal master was good indeed. She even had a rune that only status immortals could make. But he clearly thought too lowly of Zhen Bingyu. When she activated the rune, Yi Mo felt a faint aroma come over, and a soft body took him. The next moment, there was a feeling of dizziness. Yi Mo relaxed a little. He knew his life was saved. In an extremely ordinary cave, Zhen Bingyu took Yi Mo inside with a pale face before setting up a few simple low-level stealth restrictions before sitting down and panting. At this moment, she had used up almost all of her spirit sense and immortal essence. She was very weak due to repeated burning of essence blood. It was my bad before, sorry. When I came, I didn't know you were injured, Zhen Bingyu said. Yi Mo felt a little embarrassed. Not long ago, he called her an idiot, but now she saved him again. Yi Mo coughed and waved his hand. Never mind, you saved me. How did you offend such a powerful guy? Even if I wasn't injured, I would most likely lose fighting this guy. As he spoke, Yi Mo pulled the dark ray out from his chest while thinking whether he should ask for some pills from her. What shook him was that Zhen Bingyu changed her clothes in front of him. That blue dress was quickly taken off. She seemed to be about to take off her inner clothes. Of course Yi Mo wasn't going to look, but Zhen Bingyu didn't seem to intend to avoid him at all. After the blue dress was gone, there was an extremely thin inner armor made with heaven meridian worm silk, but that shockingly curvaceous body and silky white skin was revealed. The sturdy 2 hills in front of her chest were half revealed too. If this woman wasn't always cold and never flirted, Yi Mo would almost think she was trying to seduce him. Wait, Yi Mo stopped her. Seeing her turn back, Yi Mo coughed. Martial sister Bingyu, you don't avoid people when you change clothes? Hearing this, Zhen Bingyu frowned and said coldly, it's just a body. Nothing worth avoiding. If you almost succumb to this corporal lust, you will forever be like this. Your body refinement cultivation method is indeed powerful, but your cultivation level is only… Zhen Bingyu stared at Yi Mo in shock. You reached golden immortal middle stage in half a year. How is that possible? Then, as though thinking of something, she nodded. The cultivation method heritage you got is very substantial. If you focus on the pursuit of Tao, then she shook her head as though knowing that Yi Mo wouldn't be able to do that. Mu Wushuang was that powerful, but he was still ganged up and killed. If he focused on his Tao, would this happen? She didn't try to persuade Yi Mo anymore and continued to take off her inner clothes. She used a cleansing spell before taking out a new set and changed into it in front of Yi Mo. I know you heritage is very powerful, but what I need to tell you is that you must not spill it or you will be dead for sure. She finally realized why this woman knew he came out with Feng Chuanma but still acted so calm. To her it was just corporal lust. It wasn't that she didn't understand the things between men and women, but she didn't care. She knew how to protect herself. Facing a goddess with such a beautiful face and body, Yemo suddenly felt at a loss. So this means you would be willing if someone wants to sleep with you? Yemo suddenly really wanted to know if she would agree. Zhen Bingyu had finished changing her clothes and sneered. Keep dreaming. I'm not someone as innocent as Feng Chunma. I would never give my virginity essence chi to someone. Zhen Bingyu looked at Yemo in contempt. Do you do this often in front of other people? Do you do this out in the open?
Yemo asked.
Would you change your clothes on the streets when you're heavily injured? Idiot. I'm changing here because you're more injured than me and you can't do anything to me. Zhen Bingyu cursed back. Yemo was completely speechless. This female cultivator seemed extremely cunning and was much more persistent in cultivation than most cultivators. Was she really an emotionless goddess? Yemo felt a little strange. Perhaps she thought her perception was correct. True, the body was just flesh and bones, but many cultivators came from being immortal and couldn't change their perspective. But Yemo immediately shook his head. He felt if he really reached Zhen Bingyu's state, it would be sad. He would rather die of old age than be like Zhen Bingyu. Nothing else mattered except for reaching the top of Tao. Can you lend me some pills?
Yemo asked.
Zhen Bingyu nodded and gave a jade bottle to Yemo. When you recover, we can do a deal. Yemo ate a few pills and finally recovered some spirit sense. Then he took out his pills without hesitation and ate them in big handfuls. His pills were much better than hers, all top grade or extreme grade. The power of the three-birth chant was shown. Yemo felt his immortal essence and sea of consciousness recover rapidly. But Yemo felt there was a shadow in his sea of consciousness that gave him an extreme sense of danger. Then, Yemo took out a few formation flags and looked at Zhen Bingyu. I need to change clothes too, but my state isn't as high as yours. I need to set up a stealth formation. Zhen Bingyu's face was cold, and she closed her eyes to cultivate. Yemo didn't care. Yemo threw down tens of formation flags, and when his figure disappeared, Zhen Bingyu suddenly got up and murmured, "He's a level 2 immortal formation master? How is there someone this insane?" After Yemo went in the stealth formation, he immediately took out a jade white dark weed and started repairing his spirit sense and sea of consciousness. After Yemo went in the stealth formation, he immediately took out a jade white dark weed and started repairing his spirit sense and sea of consciousness. Only now did he feel the true power of the dark weed. His sea of consciousness was being repaired rapidly. It was many times better than pills. Yemo was shaken. He didn't feel the corner soul weed was anything special when his sea of consciousness was fine, but now that it was injured, he realized why it was so precious. If he concocted it into the dual spirit pill, wouldn't the effect be even better? Dual spirit pills were level 6 immortal pill. Yemo had decided to concoct them as soon as he reached level 6 immortal pill great master. After more than half of his sea of consciousness was repaired, a black appeared in his sea of consciousness. Yemo was shaken. He didn't even notice a skeleton who was about to die plant a mark in his sea of consciousness. If he didn't have corner soul weeds and other pills, it would be countless years before he could repair his sea of consciousness. After that, who knew what would happen? Perhaps this spirit sense mark would have fused with his spirit sense. Would that skeleton know everything he thought by then? If that was really the case, then if that skeleton revived or possessed someone else, he would be caught anywhere. Thinking about this, Yemo was covered in cold sweat. He quickly forced out that dark shadow and sealed it with layers of restrictions before sealing it in a jade box. Then, he carefully sealed the jade box in the golden page world. Yemo didn't destroy it. He never liked to take such things passively. He would pay this skeleton back in the future. After this, Yemo quickly stripped himself naked and burned everything with mist lotus heartfire before searching all over his body with it. Only when he was certain there were no more marks left did he feel assured. At the same time, he felt an increasingly desperate need for power. Just when Yemo was about to put on his clothes, Zhen Bingyu suddenly charged in. Yemo was dazed but then quickly put on his clothes and stared coldly at Jin Bingyu. I know your Dao heart is different than mine, but my body isn't just flesh and bones. I've set up a stealth formation. Don't you think you should ask before you come in? Zhan Bingyu said expressionlessly, when you reach the great Dao you will realize that what I said is true. Body is just flesh and bones, that's it. Plus, I came in for a reason. That abstruse immortal middle stage just passed here not far away. How do you know?
Yemo asked.
His body hadn't fully recovered yet. If that guy caught up, it would be very dangerous. I didn't get to take back my black sword and rainbow stamp. He is using them to sense my location. He didn't notice before, but if he passes here again, he will, Zhan Bingyu said calmly. Why does he have to kill you? Yemo asked with a frown. I will tell you when you recover. This also concerns our future cooperation. Zhan Bingyu nodded. Yemo was helpless and could only continue his recovery. Half an hour later, his wounds had pretty much recovered. Now he breathed easy. Even if that abstruse immortal middle stage came now, he wasn't scared. He then said to Zhan Bingyu, I'm going to set up a formation now. When I'm finished, make that trash formation you set at the cave. At least it will allow him to be able to sense you. You want to draw that abstruse immortal over and trap him with a formation? Zhan Bingyu immediately knew what Yemo meant and didn't feel unhappy at Yemo for calling her formation trash. Yemo laughed. That's right, I didn't do anything and this bastard hit me. I don't like it, I'm going to get him back. Hearing this, Zhan Bingyu sighed. It seems I was correct. My master overestimated you. You're not mature indeed. You're very impetuous. You're still not over something this small. No matter how powerful your heritage is, you won't be able to achieve the great Dao. Small thing? Yemo looked speechlessly at this woman. He was almost killed, and this was small? There was nothing in common between them. Yemo couldn't be bothered talking to her and started setting up formation flags. She clearly knew something about formations and was surprised looking at the way Yemo set them up. This was because she couldn't see them with her spirit sense after Yemo set them up. Half an hour later, Yemo finished a stealth attack formation. Now, he just needed to wait for the abstruse immortal to come over and die. Which cultivation realm did you ascend from? There was still no sign of that abstruse immortal, so he asked Zhan Bingyu this question. I'm not an immortal ascension cultivator. I was with my master at the extreme sword sect ever since I was young. Zhan Bingyu shook her head and said. Yemo was a little confused. Even if she was an immortal realm cultivator, there were no female cultivators who had the same perceptions as her. You want to ask why I don't care about the things between men and women, right? Zhan Bingyu was very smart. Seeing Yemo not talk, she sneered. If you want to say I'm shameless, be straightforward. You don't understand my Dao heart. It's pointless to tell you. Of course, if you can show me your formation jade slip so that I can easily set up a stealth formation, I would do it too. Yemo sneered and couldn't be bothered talking to her. Her wits weren't small either, and she wanted to use this opportunity to get his formation jade slip. Who did she think she was? He gave her the body refinement jade slip because she saved him before. Although she saved him just now, she brought the danger here too. Seeing Yemo ignore her, Zhan Bingyu didn't care. She knew that Yemo wouldn't agree anyways, but the body refinement cultivation method Yemo gave her was too powerful. If Yemo's formation jade slip was this powerful, then she would soon become an immortal formation master too. She didn't really intend to use Yemo. The two didn't talk anymore. The silence didn't last for a few minutes before a spirit sense scanned into the cave and a dashing light came. It was that abstruse immortal middle stage indeed. Zhan Bingyu changed the formation a little, and that person sensed the two here. Sensing this abstruse immortal's ferocious chi, Yemo knew that if he didn't use his formation, he wouldn't be a match for this guy if he was still golden immortal primary stage. But now he was golden immortal middle stage and had this formation. He believed he would be able to easily kill this abstruse immortal middle stage. The abstruse immortal came to the cave, but didn't come in immediately. He threw out some formation flags and sealed the space nearby, fearing that Zhan Bingyu would use an instant transmission rune again. He looked at the cave for a while. That golden immortal primary stage was nothing, but this woman was quite powerful. He had to ensure there was no danger here. But now Zhen Bingyu was looking at Emo in shock. He controlled his power to be golden immortal primary stage, and she couldn't tell at all. That meant if Emo was an abstruse immortal and kept his power at golden immortal primary stage, she still wouldn't be able to tell. The abstruse immortal checked around and didn't find anything before smirking and coming in. His black dragon magic artifact was spinning above his head. The dragon above his head roared. The dragon above his head roared. This wasn't Emo's first time seeing such a magic artifact. It was made with a beast's soul. Such magic artifacts had an artifact spirit that couldn't grow, but it was much stronger than ordinary magic artifacts without an artifact spirit. The sound made by this black dragon was heavy and powerful. Attack! The abstruse immortal cultivator didn't look at Emo anymore and just stared at Zhen Bingyu before roaring. The black dragon morphed into black lightning and shot out. It formed a 3-meter-long grinder above Zhen Bingyu. If it wasn't that this cave was too small, it definitely would be bigger. At the same time, there was a buzzing sound in the abstruse immortal's body. Black rays shot from his body. Emo sneered. He was injured by this before. Before that dark ray could shoot up, he threw out his formation flag. The instant the formation closed, the abstruse immortal cultivator felt it. He wasn't good at formations, but he could tell he was trapped. He finally realized why Zhen Bingyu took this small golden immortal primary stage when she ran. He was an immortal formation master. But he didn't care even though he was trapped. He pushed with his dark rays, but soon he noticed something was wrong. They disappeared in the small cave hole. That huge black dragon magic artifact was also stopped by the formation and didn't do any damage to the abstruse immortal female cultivator. Not only that, the black dragon wouldn't be able to help him for a while. The abstruse immortal immediately realized that Emo was an immortal formation master who knew very well how to use formations to fight. He had to kill this golden immortal insect first. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to do anything while trapped here. Just when he thought of this, that black dragon rattled and smashed over at Emo's formation. But as soon as it did, the abstruse immortal immediately noticed a powerful killing force coming his way. He didn't even notice this before. He was very familiar with this killing force. He had fought with Zhen Bingyu more than once. It was another magic artifact that she could control. Each time this woman attacked, he could feel it beforehand, but now he only sensed it when it was before him. This must be due to this formation. He quickly took back his black dragon to block Zhen Bingyu's blue flute. At this moment, this abstruse immortal didn't care about Zhen Bingyu at all. When the black dragon blocked Zhen Bingyu, he charged over at Emo like crazy and smashed a rune over. He felt very embarrassed to use a rune against a golden immortal cultivator, but he knew clearly that if he didn't kill this immortal formation master, it would be hard for him to even stay alive, much less win. This small golden immortal primary stage posed a much greater threat to him than this abstruse immortal primary stage female cultivator. Rumble the rune exploded on Yemo's formation, rattling the space nearby. The space of the Chaos Star realm didn't seem as stable as outside. The abstruse immortal cultivator realized that his rune only rattled Yemo's formation a little and did nothing. The golden immortal primary stage wasn't in the blast radius at all. Before he could release his magic artifact, another faint light swept over. It wasn't that woman, it should be the golden immortal. The abstruse immortal released a low-grade immortal artifact and grabbed at the direction the faint light came from. Emo sneered. A mere abstruse immortal middle stage who was in his formation dared to try and grab him with his hands. He threw out a few more formation flags, and Zissou struck the abstruse immortal cultivator's shield. Crack! The abstruse immortal didn't expect Yemo's immortal essence was this strong. His shield was hacked away, without him using it at full power. A small crack even ran down the middle. "You're not golden immortal primary stage." As soon as he said this, a blood light flashed, and Zissou hacked into his chest. The abstruse immortal was shook. He was heavily injured now, and wanted to run without hesitation. From that clash, He could feel that Yemo's immortal essence was even a little stronger than abstruse immortal primary stage. He was trapped in a formation and faced two abstruse immortals. This was asking to die. As soon as the abstruse immortal turned, countless invisible sword rays shot out of the formation and surrounded him. The abstruse immortal activated the huge black dragon like crazy, wanting to use it to charge out of the cultivation home. However, he wouldn't be able to get out of Yemo's trap formation quickly. He knew he shouldn't have come inside. If he wasn't in the formation, he wouldn't fear this immortal formation master. There was a terrifying pressure coming from the black dragon. Yemo knew this guy was about to detonate his magic artifact to get out. A magic artifact with an artifact spirit had even more terrifying detonations. How could Yemo let him detonate his magic artifact? He circulated his immortal essence and spirit sense like crazy as Zisu burst out. The purple went from faint to dense in less than half a second and hacked down from the abstruse immortal's head. The abstruse immortal didn't even have time to release his explosion rune and was cut in half by Zisu. Seeing Yemo kill this abstruse immortal middle stage in such a short time with the formation, there was a sliver of shock in Zhen Bingyu's eyes. She knew Yemo would win, but didn't expect the win to be this clean. After this abstruse immortal died, his essence spirit seemed to have been devoured by a black shadow. She didn't even see what it was. From this, it was clear that Yemo still had trump cards he didn't use. Zhen Bingyu went up to that cultivator and took her black sword. Yemo took the formation flags and easily broke the restrictions on the storage ring. However, Yemo was greatly disappointed. There were only about 500,000 immortal crystals. An abstruse immortal was this poor? But soon, Yemo realized what happened. There were a few bottles of level 3 immortal pills and quite some level 4 immortal spirit herbs and materials. Seeing Zhen Bingyu look at him, he quickly found her rainbow stamp and threw it back to her. Seeing her take it, Yemo was about to leave here. Wait, I said there was something we can collaborate on, are you willing? Zhen Bingyu suddenly stopped Yemo. What is it? Yemo asked plainly. Zhen Bingyu said, I know a place with chaos blue reeds if you're willing. Yemo suddenly looked coldly at her. That's exactly what the skeleton that almost killed him said. What did she mean by saying this now? Yemo was ready to release Zisu at any time. If this woman dared to let him go down that pond, he would kill her without hesitation. Feeling Yemo's killing intent, Zhen Bingyu took 2 steps back and frowned. She didn't understand why Yemo would have killing intent towards her after he said this. So she watched. If Yemo dared to attack, she would protect herself. She was thinking that Yemo probably wanted to take it all for himself. Thus, Zhen Bingyu didn't want to tell Yemo anymore. She couldn't get it herself, but she hadn't even said the location, and Yemo wanted it all for himself. This made her very uncomfortable. Never mind, I don't want to collaborate with you, Zhen Bingyu said, and was about to leave here. Yemo was confused instead. Did he guess wrong? If he did, then this was a missed opportunity. Where is it? Yemo couldn't resist asking. I thought only I knew about it, but after I went there I realized that wasn't the case. That abstruse immortal middle stage who tried to kill me was scared of news spreading, so he came to kill me. He had 2 other abstruse immortal primary stage friends who stayed there, Zhen Bingyu answered. I thought only I knew about it, but after I went there I realized that wasn't the case. That abstruse immortal middle stage who tried to kill me was scared of news spreading, so he came to kill me. He had 2 other abstruse immortal primary stage friends who stayed there, Zhen Bingyu answered. Hearing this, he immediately asked, How do you want to cooperate? Before that I have 2 conditions, Zhen Bingyu said upon seeing that Yemo's wariness towards her reduced. Yemo said plainly, First, the chaos blue reed you mentioned might not exist. Even if it does, we might not get it. Second, you don't need to tell me your conditions. I won't agree to it before seeing the chaos blue reed. Zhen Bingyu realized it was pointless to mention the cultivation method again, so she fell into silence. After a while she could only say, Then how would we divide things if we get the chaos blue reed? He knew the chances were slim, but the chaos blue reed was too much of an enticement to Yemo. If he found one, he would definitely not want to give it up. He fell silent for a while and said, "If there's more than one, we can share them evenly, but if there's only one, then there's none for me, right?" Jean Bingyu sneered, but she was angry. This guy hadn't even got the chaos blue reed, and already acted like this. If he got it, then wouldn't he kill her? Yi Mo was lost for words. If there was only one, he really wouldn't know how to split it. I'm already God's state peak stage, I'm about to go through nirvana. I need it more desperately than you. So if you help me with this, I will compensate you elsewhere, Yi Mo said helplessly. Jean Bingyu knew Yi Mo's greed and sighed. If she didn't work with him, there was no way she would get the chaos blue reed, but she felt unsatisfied collaborating with him. I'm also king state middle stage. Plus, everyone wants something like the chaos blue reed. You don't need an entire one for body refinement. If there's only one, give half to me, Jean Bingyu said without hesitation. Yi Mo wasn't surprised she reached king state in half a year. She was powerful, and the body refinement places here were really good too. Seeing that Yi Mo didn't talk, she added, "If there's only one, I want the top part of the chaos blue reed. I can give the bottom half to you. For something like the chaos blue reed, the lower the part, the more valuable." Yi Mo nodded. "Okay, we'll do that. Now, where is the chaos blue reed?" "It's in the extreme star swamp, 1,000 kilometers west," Jean Bingyu said. Yi Mo released Blue Moon and said to Jean Bingyu, "Get on, let's hurry." Yi Mo knew this place too. This was the perfect place for him. One couldn't use spirit sense, nor immortal essence here. A body refinement cultivator like him had a natural advantage. Jean Bingyu got on Blue Moon without hesitation. Yi Mo controlled Blue Moon while expanding his spirit sense domain out. Blue Moon darted across the sky in a blue figure. It was many times faster than running on the ground. Jean Bingyu's face was still very cold, but she envied Yi Mo quite a lot. Even though she came from a great eternity immortal sect, she was like a hillbilly compared to Yi Mo. Other than her more adamant Tao heart, her cultivation method and capabilities were all lower. Just when Jean Bingyu was thinking, Yi Mo suddenly hacked out with Zisu. A shriek sounded and blood fell. Yi Mo grabbed a beast core and 2 feathers. Jean Bingyu saw a shadowless vulture quickly disappear. Jean Bingyu was shook looking at this. The other parts of the shadowless vulture were worth some immortal crystals. This guy was too wasteful. For the first time, Jean Bingyu became curious about Yi Mo. She would never be interested in any cultivators, but she asked this time, "Are you a cultivator from the cultivation realm?"
Yes.
Yi Mo nodded. "Then someone like you would have quite some Tao partners in the cultivation realm?" Jean Bingyu asked. She really felt it was a pity that someone this talented couldn't focus on cultivation. Yi Mo nodded awkwardly, thinking this woman was quite accurate. Jean Bingyu knew it was like this and hesitated before saying, "Your fortune must be astounding. My master said before that Nianmei didn't deserve you. Now I believe it. With your current situation, if you focus completely on cultivation, I believe you can reach the top of Tao." Yi Mo waved his hand. He didn't want her to remind him. Seeing Yi Mo lost the interest to talk, Jean Bingyu said, "I'm just reminding you. Whether you listen or not, it's up to you. I just feel pity for that unparalleled heritage of yours." Yi Mo looked at her plainly and said, "Then I'll remind you too. If you don't undress yourself in front of a man, you might reach the top of Tao. Listen or not, up to you. I just feel pity for such an extremely beautiful woman." Jean Bingyu smiled and said no more. Although she didn't care about her body, this was the only time she undressed herself in front of a male cultivator. This was because she had never teamed up with someone before. Even though she came with Hai Chuanwu, she still chose to trial alone. She was heavily injured this time, and Yi Mo was in a worse state. There were people hunting then. She wouldn't care about exposing her body. Yi Mo was dazed. Ever since he met this woman, this was the first time he saw her smile. Her smile was many times prettier than her cold face. Yi Mo sighed. Thinking that such extremely beautiful woman took her clothes off casually in front of other people, and how her body had been seen by countless people, there was a sense of disgust in Yi Mo's heart. "You are disgusted by me." Jean Bingyu scanned and saw the disgust in Yi Mo's heart. Haha, we're here. Yi Mo still needed to collaborate with her, of course he couldn't admit it. Looking down, the extreme star swamp was shrouded in what seemed like mist or chaos chi. There were many immortals here, from golden immortal to abstruse immortal. There were constantly more cultivators coming over. In half a day, there would be more than 2,000 here. This is your private news? Yi Mo looked at Zhen Bingyu in confusion. A sliver of awkwardness appeared on Zhen Bingyu's face. When I left, there was not a single person here. Now that so many came, the chaos blue reed must have been exposed. Yi Mo got off from Blue Moon, and many immortals saw it. They all turned around. There were people flying in here, but it was usually abstruse immortal cultivators with a top-grade defense magic artifact. When they saw it was only a golden immortal primary stage landing, they were shocked. Golden immortal primary stages could fly in here? But then they saw Zhen Bingyu behind him, who was an abstruse immortal. Yi Mo didn't like Zhen Bingyu seeing that he was golden immortal middle stage, so he hid his power back to golden immortal primary stage. As many of the cultivators here knew, he was golden immortal primary stage. I know that golden immortal cultivator. No one wanted to team up with him, but in the end, he got to the asteroid door himself. A golden immortal primary stage passed the heaven domain void. Are you sure? It's true, I saw it too. He not only crossed it but also killed more than 10,000 level 2 and level 3 3-feet wolves. Everyone discussed and soon determined Yi Mo to be a master who could fight beyond his level. Thus, no cultivators dared to scan Yi Mo with spirit sense. Everyone discussed and soon determined Yi Mo to be a master who could fight beyond his level. Thus, no cultivators dared to scan Yi Mo with spirit sense. Martial Sister Bingyu, a joyful voice sounded. Yi Mo and Zhen Bingyu looked at Hai Wuchuan at the same time. Seeing Yi Mo next to Zhen Bingyu, Hai Wuchuan's eyes flashed with discomfort. He didn't expect she rejected to go with him and instead went with Yi Mo. But that sliver of discomfort quickly disappeared, and he sped up to them. Martial Sister Bingyu, did you hear there was chaos blue reed here? Hai Wuchuan asked immediately. Zhen Bingyu nodded. Yes, how did you know? I heard that a golden immortal cultivator got his friend's messenger flying sword and immediately knew his friend was killed due to this. In his fury, he spread this everywhere. I think half of the cultivators here know now. Many more are still coming over, Hai Wuchuan said. Martial Sister Bingyu, didn't you say you were going to trial alone? Why are you with Pill Master Yi? Hai Wuchuan felt that Zhen Bingyu wouldn't be interested in Yi Mo, and she said to him that she didn't want a Dao partner. But these few times he saw her, she was with Yi Mo. Zhen Bingyu said, I happened to see Martial Brother Yi here, so we came together. Pill Master Yi, I didn't expect you could cross the heaven domain void alone. I wanted to greet you at the time, but you left too quickly. Hai Wuchuan realized that Zhen Bingyu changed from calling Yi Mo Pill Master Yi to Martial Brother Yi, but he still smiled. So it's Martial Brother Hai? Hai Wuchuan was polite, and Yi Mo couldn't say much. Seeing Yi Mo not interested in talking, Hai Wuchuan said to Zhen Bingyu again, I heard that the Chaos Blue Reed is 1,000 kilometers west of here. These people are going over in teams. There might be conflict if it's found. One can't use spirit sense and immortal essence in the extreme star swamp. Why don't us two find 2 more abstruse immortal cultivators and go together? Zhen Bingyu said apologetically to Hai Wuchuan, Sorry Martial Brother Wu, I'm grouped with Martial Brother Yi. Hai Wuchuan looked at Yi Mo in confusion and then said to Zhen Bingyu, But Martial Sister Bingyu, Pill Master Yi is only golden immortal power. If Zhen Bingyu's face was getting colder and colder. She didn't like talking about the same thing again and again. Hai Wuchuan clearly knew her character, and seeing her annoyance he immediately stopped and said again, Then I'll join your team. Teams are usually 4 to 6 people. Before he finished, he was interrupted by Zhen Bingyu again. Martial Brother Wu, just Brother Yi and I are fine. You can find someone else to team up with. We'll be going inside first. Yi Mo didn't care about what Hai Wuchuan said. He knew that Zhen Bingyu would definitely not team up with Hai Wuchuan. He noticed that a lot of immortals were making magic artifacts. Just when he didn't know why they were doing so, Zhen Bingyu had gone in already. Seeing this, Yi-mo immediately followed. There were water ditches and weeds everywhere as well as some small hills. Yi-mo immediately felt the suppression of spirit sense and immortal essence when he came here. This wasn't a complete suppression, an extremely small amount of immortal essence could be used, and spirit sense could only see around 10 meters. One might as well use their eyes. But this little immortal essence was like nothing. They didn't even have Qi gathering level 5 power. One could only use magic artifacts at such a power level. Yi-mo realized why body refinement cultivators here had the advantage. In such places, Golden Immortal could definitely challenge Great Immortals. He also realized why people were making magic artifacts. It was to fly. Despite this, no one really used magic artifact to fly, it was just for backup. There were few shadowless vultures here, but it didn't mean there were none. 1,000 kilometers wasn't far. Despite being suppressed to Qi gathering middle stage, they were still very fast. Plus, it was just suppression, it didn't mean that the rest of their immortal essence was gone. Cultivators could run like this for a few years without tiring at all. Yi-mo wasn't going to run. He released his top-grade flying magic artifact and said to Zhen Bingyu, "Get on." Zhen Bingyu realized now the benefit of cooperating with Yi-mo. Everyone else had to run, but they could fly. Many cultivators saw Yi-mo dared to use his flying magic artifact and all looked contemptuous, but Yi-mo didn't care. He sped up the flying magic artifact. Yi-mo didn't waste time on the ship. He used the 3-birth chant to see if he could release some of his suppressed immortal essence. Yi-mo was just testing, but what shocked him was that his immortal essence immediately started to be released. Even his spirit sense started to recover slowly. Yi-mo was overwhelmed with shock. The 3-birth chant was too insane. In a place where even immortal emperors couldn't resolve the problem of suppression, he could recover some of his immortal essence. Who would be able to beat him here? What happened to you? Zhen Bingyu's power was suppressed, but it didn't lower her senses. Yi-mo smiled. I'm still a little injured. I'm going to slow the ship down. Okay, but watch out for shadowless vultures. Zhen Bingyu nodded. How about this? Let's stop at a quiet place, and once I recover, we'll go. Yi-mo asked. He didn't want Zhen Bingyu to see that he could recover his power. But he couldn't give this flying magic artifact to Zhen Bingyu. After all, shadowless vultures here wouldn't be suppressed. Zhen Bingyu frowned, but still agreed. Yi-mo clearly said he had pretty much recovered, so why did he need to recover now? Yi-mo changed the direction the ship went and found some brush to sit in. He threw down a few stealth formations and a few defense formations discs. Zhen Bingyu could only watch Yi-mo do this. Seeing that Yi-mo still used stealth formation disc, she felt very contemptuous. Yi-mo immediately used 3-birth chant at full power inside the stealth formation disc. His immortal essence and spirit sense grew rapidly. Soon, he was foundation establishment state. 5 minutes later, he was body condensation state power. 15 minutes later, Yi-mo's power recovered to golden immortal primary stage. Half an hour later, Yi-mo completely recovered his power. Yi-mo got out in joy. Can we go now? Zhen Bingyu asked plainly. Of course, I'm fully recovered. Let's go. Yi-mo really wanted to show off and release Blue Moon, but he knew if he did, he would die for sure. Unless he could kill whoever saw him on Blue Moon, the powerful beings of the 11 grand heaven domains might come for him. This time, Yi-mo released a middle-grade flying magic artifact. Seeing Yi-mo use a worse one, Zhen Bingyu looked strangely at Yi-mo but still said nothing. 15 minutes later, they arrived 1,000 kilometers west of Extreme Star Swamp. After getting off, he saw that this place was filled. Seeing nearly 2,000 cultivators look for the Chaos Blue Reed, Yi-mo knew the hopes were slim. With this many immortals searching here, even a needle would be found. With this many immortals searching here, even a needle would be found. Yi-mo didn't scan with his spirit sense. The Chaos Blue Reed wasn't a needle, and he wasn't blind. There were so many people here. If someone found the Chaos Blue Reed, it would be very obvious. There was only endless water ditches here, and some small hills. At an ordinary place like this, even low-level immortal spirit herbs would be hard to find, much less the chaos blue reed. I think we've been tricked. How can there be a chaos blue reed here? There's no immortal spirit chi here. Everyone think about it. What sort of thing is the chaos blue reed? Can it appear at the outskirts of the extreme star swamp? Some cultivators asked. There's chaos blue reed here. My friend definitely wouldn't lie. If he lied, he wouldn't have been killed, one golden immortal peak stage immediately said. Only now did everyone realize that this person spread the news. If he spread fake news, he wouldn't be coming here himself. Did you remember wrong? We didn't find anything. No. My friend remembered clearly that there was a huge water ditch 1,000 kilometers west of extreme star swamp. See, there's a huge water ditch here. My friend said the chaos blue reed was to the side of or inside the water ditch. Then, almost everyone looked at the huge water ditch. Was the chaos blue reed really in here? Splash, someone had already jumped in, wanting to check if it was in there. Seeing the water ripples, Yemo suddenly thought of something. He realized what happened. He had been to deserts and knew there would be mirages there. Was the chaos blue reed that cultivators saw a mirage too? This meant that there was definitely a chaos blue reed, but it wasn't here. There might be some sudden light that reflected the chaos blue reed here. Yemo knew the actual place might be really far from here. Thinking about this, Yemo was planning to leave. Just as that immortal said, there was no way chaos blue reed would be here. The extreme star swamp was boundless, but he had recovered his power. He had some hope of finding it. Yemo said to Zhenbingyu, since there's no chaos blue reed, here I'm going other places here for a spin. Martial Sister Bingyu, let's split off here. Good luck, Martial Sister Bingyu. However, when he turned around, Zhan Bingyu followed him. There's definitely no chaos blue reed here. Why are you still following me? Yemo asked in confusion. Before Zhan Bingyu could reply, a voice sounded, I know what's going on. It's definitely a mirage. That's right, mirage. Yeah, how come I didn't think of it? Some cultivators clapped. Now most cultivators here realized what was going on. Yemo felt his nose. As soon as he thought of it, someone else did too. Now Zhan Bingyu probably thought he wanted to do it alone. Indeed, Zhan Bingyu looked coldly at Yemo. You knew this was a mirage, so you wanted to avoid me, right? Yes, indeed. But now that you know, then let's go if you still want to team up with me. Yemo admitted it. Zhan Bingyu said nothing and followed Yemo without hesitation. She knew that in here, Yemo was much more powerful than her. This was the chaos blue reed, so she wasn't going to go alone. Realizing this was a mirage, many immortals started going around searching. Where do we go? Zhan Bingyu looked at Yemo and asked. Where there is dense immortal spirit chi. Yemo flew even faster. When he left the crowded place, he changed to a top-grade flying magic artifact and brought the speed to max. 5 days later, Zhan Bingyu finally couldn't resist it anymore and said, We can't keep going in. My power has been suppressed to almost nothing. I can only use my own bodily power. I'm weaker than an ordinary martial artist. There are martial artists in Immortal Realm? Yemo asked. Did you think the lowest in the Immortal Realm are all hollow immortals? Zhan Bingyu asked coldly. No, I've seen some disaster transformation state and truth realization states. I just didn't expect there were martial artists. There are not only martial artists, but if they cultivate to the extreme, they are no weaker than status immortals. It's just that we haven't touched their world yet. In here, martial artists are the most suited. Their power wouldn't be suppressed at all. Why do no martial artists come? Because powerful martial artists don't care about it, and low-level martial artists can't make it here. Yemo nodded and said slowly, I'm going to search further in. If Martial Sister Bingyu doesn't want to team up with me, I can give you my magic artifact. I have some spirit stones here. You can have them too. This way, you can still leave here. You want me to die? Zhan Bingyu's tone grew cold. Yemo had killed 3 shadowless vultures on the way here. Telling her to go back was telling her to die. Then stop talking. Since we're a team, you go where I go, Yemo said. Zhan Bingyu's face was ice cold, but she couldn't be bothered saying anything to Emo. The two didn't talk, but Emo's flying magic artifact was getting faster and faster. Eventually, he even changed to an extreme-grade magic artifact. Zhan Bingyu felt her power was being suppressed more and more, but she said nothing. She was suspicious of Emo theoretically. The further they went, the more they would be suppressed, and the flying magic artifact should be slower, but Emo was getting faster and faster. He even changed his top-grade magic artifact to an extreme-grade magic artifact. Seeing the top-grade spirit stones attached in the extreme-grade flying magic artifact, she realized what was going on. People could forge extreme-grade magic artifacts here, but where would they get top-grade spirit stones? Other than a rare few immortals, most immortals wouldn't prepare spirit stones. The worst they had were low-grade immortal crystals. But in here, spirit stones were useful. 2 days later, Emo suddenly stopped. He looked at the purple in front of him, and fire popped out of his eyes. 6-winged purple radish, Zhan Bingyu called out in shock. She fought with 2 abstruse immortals over 4 before, but now there were 100. She even heard Emo gulp. She looked back at Emo and shook her head. This pill Master Yi was too lacking in maturity. The 6-winged purple radish was indeed very valuable, but as an immortal, he was about to drool when seeing good things. He didn't have the mannerism of an immortal at all. It was no wonder he couldn't control himself. What do we do with these? Zhan Bingyu asked. 1 to 9. I take 90%, you take 10%, Emo said without hesitation. Emo thought Zhan Bingyu wouldn't agree, but unexpectedly she agreed, without hesitation. Okay, I agree. Emo thought Zhan Bingyu wouldn't agree, but unexpectedly she agreed, without hesitation. Okay, I agree. Emo was dazed, but he immediately realized Zhan Bingyu couldn't do anything here. Even if he gave her nothing, she could only succumb to fate. Despite realizing this, Emo didn't change his mind. He wasn't going to change his promise. I'll go collect them. Zhan Bingyu was very proactive. She knew she pretty much got these for free while doing nothing. As soon as she took 2 steps forward, Emo pulled her and she fell back. If Emo didn't move back, she would be in Emo's arms. What are you doing? Zhan Bingyu asked coldly. She wasn't afraid of Emo insulting her body, but scared that Emo would take her virginity essence. That way, her cultivation would be greatly compromised. Virginity essence was good for cultivation. Plus, her heritage cultivation method had a strict requirement on this. Emo wasn't going to be interested in such a boring woman. He said coldly, "Can't you see what I'm doing?" Without a need for Emo to say anything, Zhan Bingyu saw that there were tens of level 2 immortal spirit beasts and 1 level 3 around the immortal spirit herbs. Swamp tiger crocodile, Zhan Bingyu called out in shock. These were immortal spirit beasts in the depths of the swamp. They couldn't fly, but they were extremely fast. Their hide was tough and had immeasurable strength. Their beast essence power wouldn't be limited by the swamp and were much more powerful than ordinary immortal spirit beasts. Even a golden immortal peak stage might not be a match for a level 2 swamp tiger crocodile, much less tens of level 2 swamp tiger crocodiles and 1 level 3. Even though they couldn't fly, cultivators with flying magic artifacts might not be able to get away from them. They could jump 10 meters high and could join up to form space bindings. Emo knew the value of swamp tiger crocodiles. They didn't have beast cores, but they had beast essence crystals. They were worth much more than beast cores. High-level beast essence cores could be used to concoct some special pills as well as high-level runes. They could even help immortal spirit beast pets break through. The swamp tiger crocodile's skin and bones were top-grade forgery materials. These swamp tiger crocodiles had dispersed surrounding them. What do we do? Zhan Bingyu looked worriedly at Emo. She had used her only instant transmission rune. Emo frowned. He wasn't afraid of them, but if he fought, his power would be exposed and Zhan Bingyu was here. But he really couldn't kill her to keep his secret. The swamp tiger crocodiles roared. They were slow, but they didn't stop, probably because they didn't know the two's power yet. What are you thinking about at this moment? Zhen Bingyu suddenly asked. Yemo knew he wasn't going to die, so of course he thought of nothing. But now that she asked, he thought of Susu, Qingxue, Jingwen, and them. Yemo's face also appeared in his mind. I'm thinking, if I don't die here today, perhaps I might accomplish Master's wish and become a status immortal one day, Zhen Bingyu murmured, seeing that Yemo didn't answer her. Yemo sneered. You won't die today, but if you want to become a status immortal you should wake up. His Tao heart was completely different to Zhen Bingyu. He felt the Tao meant experiencing all facets of life. He definitely didn't believe that someone who thought their body was just flesh and bones would reach the top of Tao. Just when Yemo was about to attack, laughter sounded. That speed was countless times faster than his extreme-grade flying magic artifact. Good. These swamp tiger crocodiles are trash, but these 106-winged purple radishes are good. My foam Timos, luck is indeed the best. A gray-robed man appeared. Yemo didn't scan him, but from his ferocious chi Yemo knew that this man's cultivation level might be much higher than his. A level 2 swamp tiger crocodile heard this and charged over with a roar. That man didn't care at all and punched. Seeing this punch, Yemo's eyes narrowed. He clearly saw that space itself was about to condense under this punch. Thud, blood flew, and this level 2 swamp tiger crocodile was punched to a bloody mist by this man. There was no beast essence core nor bones. Yemo took in a cold breath. He knew he definitely wouldn't be able to do this. Immortal Nirvana body immortal, Zhen Bingyu called out in shock. That foam Timo looked at Zhen Bingyu and suddenly said, such an exquisite immortal. Good eyes, you can tell that I have an immortal Nirvana body. He then scanned Yemo and shook his head. What a waste, he doesn't deserve you.
You should be my concubine.
Zhen Bingyu's face was calm. She didn't seem unhappy at all. Instead, with this man's arrival, she might be saved. Yemo's face was calm too, but he was shaken that this man was immortal Nirvana body. He could tell this man wasn't immortal Nirvana body primary stage. On top of that, this man was at least great immortal level. A great immortal with immortal Nirvana body refinement. Even if he was a great unity immortal, he could run away from a great eternity immortal. The swamp tiger crocodiles realized the power of this man, but didn't want to just retreat like that. Seeing this, the man howled and attacked the swamp tiger crocodiles. Thud, blood mist sprayed in the air. The ferocious swamp tiger crocodiles turned into nothing under this man's punches. That level 3 swamp tiger crocodile was very smart and ran away. The rest of the swamp tiger crocodiles followed. The man didn't chase but looked back at Yemo and Zhen Bingyu. Yemo was feeling that those beast essence crystals would be worth some money. An abstruse immortal primary stage and a golden immortal primary stage dare to come here, the man said coldly. If Qianbei has no other thing, then we'll go first. Zhen Bingyu saw that Yemo didn't talk, so she spoke. She knew that the 6-winged purple radish wouldn't be theirs. The man waved his hand. You're just going to leave like that after I saved your lives? Then what does Qianbei want? Zhen Bingyu didn't know why Yemo said nothing. Yemo was thinking what his chances of victory would be if he ambushed this man.
You stay.
On your account, he can go. The man nodded. You're very good-looking and calm. I like such concubines. Sorry, I won't be your concubine. My Tao heart is firm. No one can stop me from pursuing the great Tao, Zhen Bingyu said coldly. You want me to kill you? How can you cultivate without a life? I never force anyone to be my concubine, but I saved you just then. If you don't be my wife, you need to die again. The man sneered. Yemo sneered back. Did I ask you to save me? If I say those swamp tiger crocodiles were my beast essence crystals and you just destroyed them all, and I want you to compensate, what are you going to do? Zhen Bingyu looked at Yemo with a face full of shock, not understanding why Yemo was aggravating this man. Haha, interesting. Foam Timo laughed, but didn't get angry. Haha, interesting. Foam Timo laughed, but didn't get angry. He studied Yemo, a golden immortal dares to come here, and dares to say you didn't ask me to save you. You indeed have balls. But you're right, I did come save you on my own accord. Then thank you, Qianbei. Yemo saluted with his fists. Since Qianbei doesn't mind, we'll go collect the six-winged purple radish and leave. Hearing this, Zhan Bingyu was even more worried. Yemo seemed very cunning. Did he have no awareness of the situation? This Feng Timo was a rather clean person. Since he didn't plan to kill them, they should hurry up and leave. Why did Yemo still want the six-winged purple radish? You still want the six-winged purple radish? Feng Timo also looked at Yemo with disbelief. It was as though he heard the funniest joke in the world. A golden immortal primary stage dared to talk back to him and mention the six-winged purple radish in front of him. Did he really not fear death? Yemo smiled. Look at your words, Qianbei. We found the six-winged purple radish first. We were planning to harvest them, and you came. Do I have to throw down my own things? What logic is that? You have balls. After a long while, Feng Timo spat out these three words. He thought that Yemo saw through what character he was, so he dared to say such words. He wasn't very annoyed. He was proud of himself for being a clean character. Now that it was approved by Yemo, how could he not continue to feel good about himself? If it was some ordinary immortal spirit herb, he might really give it up, but he really didn't want to give up the six-winged purple radish. Little did he know that Yemo didn't see through his character, but that he wasn't afraid of him. Yemo had calculated that even if this was an immortal spirit body, great unity immortal, he didn't fear a fight here. Zhan Bingyu sighed. She was prepared to help Yemo if Yemo wanted to fight Feng Timo. They were still in a team, and she didn't want to go against her promise. But with her current ability, there was no difference whether she helped or not. Just when Feng Timo looked at the flying sword, there was joy on his face. He turned to leave, but after he walked a few meters, he turned back and said, "You both owe me a life. This small golden immortal can use six-winged purple radish to pay me back. As for this goddess, you can be my concubine. Otherwise, you can only give that life back to me." Before Zhan Bingyu could react, Yemo said plainly, "Qianbei, you're wrong. You owe me 10 tiger crocodiles. I don't feel I owe you anything." Feng Timo, who was a few hundred meters away, almost fell over hearing this, but he didn't stop. He sped off faster. Seeing Feng Timo leave, Zhan Bingyu took a long sigh of relief. She even felt she was sweating cold. She then looked coldly at Yemo. "Did you know you almost made me die with you?" "At most I would die. He would still want you to be his concubine." "He probably wouldn't kill you," Yemo said, and then he went to harvest the six-winged purple radish. Be his concubine? I'm not that low. My life pursuit is the great Tao, not anything else, Zhan Bingyu added coldly. Then, she looked at Yemo and said, "You don't seem dumb. Why are you seeking death? If we stay in a team, I don't want you to be like this next time." "Sorry, if Feng Timo comes back, I would still do the same thing. If you don't want to team up with me, then go where you please." Yemo collected the six-winged purple radish. Zhan Bingyu shook his head and said no more. She really didn't understand why Qin Yanmei and Feng Chuma would like such a person. She didn't even consider that Hai Wuchuan who followed her everywhere and sucked up to her, but compared to this Yemo, he was 10 times better. But today that Feng Timo is a rather good person. Next time I see him I will help him. Yemo praised Feng Timo. But if they really fought, he would kill this person. Zhan Bingyu shook her head speechlessly. Feng Timo was not only great immortal, but also immortal nirvana body. Who would be helping who? Yet a golden immortal dared to say he would help a great immortal. Wait, Yemo suddenly thought something and said, "What's wrong?" Zhan Bingyu asked. Yemo said calmly that Feng Timo could have taken the six-winged purple radishes, but why didn't he? Why did he leave in such a hurry? Why did he tell me to use six-winged purple radishes to pay him back? Feng Timo is great immortal power. Why is he here? Yemo asked. Zhan Bingyu was very smart, and now that Yemo asked, she immediately realized. You're saying he came for the Chaos Blue Reed? If I'm not wrong, he probably is. What else would be more precious than 106 winged purple radishes in here? Yi Mo asked. You're saying that the messenger flying sword he got was about the chaos blue reed? Zhan Bingyu immediately asked. Yi Mo released his extreme grade flying magic artifact and said, Get on quickly, let's go look. Zhan Bingyu got up but asked worriedly, It's not too good for us to go like that, right? We can't beat that Feng Timo. Yi Mo said coldly, If you don't want to go, I'll give you this flying magic artifact, and I'll go alone. Zhan Bingyu put on a cold face and ignored Yi Mo. She had no choice but to follow Yi Mo. She had quite a high possibility of dying here if she left alone. Before the ship could fly very far, a black figure charged over. There were a few more figures behind them. Swamp tiger crocodile. Zhan Bingyu didn't expect them to be this cunning. As soon as that immortal nirvana body immortal left, they came back for revenge. Before Zhan Bingyu could feel despair, Yi Mo released Sisu. Illusion Cloud Domain Kill Strike. The purple sword ray swiped across the dull sky with a faint purple ray. Blood splashed, and those few crocodiles were killed. Only that level 3 crocodile barely dodged Yi Mo's purple sword ray. The level 3 crocodile immediately realized that this guy who seemed to be waiting for death before wasn't easy to mess with, and immediately turned to run away. Since Yi Mo exposed his power, how could he let this crocodile go? He flew out from the flying ship and hacked out again. Multiple purple rays blocked off the crocodile's escape path. At this moment this crocodile was truly worried, and in his roar shot out tens of sword chi. There was the screeching sound of space. If those sword chi landed, even Yi Mo would be injured. But Yi Mo wanted to desperately kill this guy, so even if he got injured, he would have to kill it quickly. Yi Mo didn't dodge the sword chi at all, and released Sisu, as well as multiple rays of lightning. When the crocodile was struck by the thick lightning, it couldn't keep attacking Yi Mo and spat a few more sword chi before running away. Yi Mo almost spat blood when the sword chi hit him. There was a huge hole in his armor, a blood arrow shot out. Meanwhile, the crocodile was also hacked open into a bloody mist. Yi Mo threw the bodies in a storage ring and got back on the ship and flew rapidly towards where Feng Timo went. Zhan Bingyu just realized and looked at Yi Mo in shock. Your power isn't bound? How did you do it? You're a lightning spirit root cultivator too? She finally understood what Yi Mo meant before. Yi Mo's power wasn't bound, and with his ability to kill those high cultivation level than him, he really didn't fear that Feng Timo. If the two fought, Yi Mo might be able to kill that Feng Timo. How I did it is my business. Yi Mo frowned at Zhan Bingyu. How I did it is my business. Yi Mo frowned at Zhan Bingyu. Zhan Bingyu seemed to know what Yi Mo wanted to say next, and said, Don't worry about me spilling it. I know your heritage isn't ordinary. If I would spill it, I wouldn't remind you to be careful about your body refinement cultivation method. Yi Mo nodded. He believed Zhan Bingyu, but even so, he had decided to leave Fengji Heaven immediately and never return to Gonghua Heaven. The flying ship flew for about 6 minutes before Yi Mo suddenly stopped. His spirit sense scanned Feng Timo, but there wasn't just him. There were at least 3 cultivators with him. They all didn't seem to have their power suppressed. There was a small lake in front of them, but there was an extremely tall mountain in the middle. The mountain was shrouded in mist. But when Yi Mo's spirit sense saw clearly, he was struck with a fit of excitement. He almost charged up, as not far from the top of the peak, there was a rock that bulged out. Below it was a blue immortal spirit herb. It was the chaos blue reed. Luckily, he controlled himself. There were 4 people over there, including Feng Timo. Yi Mo knew that his power wouldn't be weaker than his despite being suppressed. Those 3 could have a standoff against Feng Timo. Clearly, they weren't ordinary. Plus, Feng Timo was definitely called over by one of them. That meant that if he charged up, he would need to face against 2 Feng Timos, or the gang of the 4 of them. No matter how powerful Yi Mo was, he didn't dare to do this. Yi Mo changed the direction of the flying ship, and 10 minutes later, Yi Mo found a small hill full of weeds, and landed there. Seeing Yi Mo land the ship at such a corner again, she frowned and asked, Why did you stop here? Don't worry, I'm not interested in your body. If you want to go, then please do. Yemo said this again. Zhen Bingyu shook her head speechlessly. This was all Yemo could say. She watched Yemo silently as he set up a trap and stealth formation. How long are you going to stay in the Chaos Star Realm? Yemo suddenly asked. He wanted her to go immediately, but he was also afraid she would leave before him. Zhen Bingyu looked coldly at him and said, at least until I reach abstruse immortal peak stage. It might be a few hundred or 1,000 years. You don't need to worry about me going out first and exposing the secret on you. Plus, I don't know what secret you have. I just know you have a powerful heritage. Yemo didn't mind her seeing through what he thought. He had to ask clearly about this, or he wouldn't mind planting some restrictions on her. How long will you stay? Strangely, Zhen Bingyu asked him the same question back. In Yemo's impression, she only cared about her cultivation. She never asked him about private things. Yemo fell silent for a moment and said, perhaps I will go out after reaching abstruse immortal. With your progress, you should be faster than me. Zhen Bingyu's face eased up. She paused and said, there are 9 levels of the Chaos Star Realm. We're only at the first level. The further you go, the harder it is. Rarely can cultivators reach the 9th level, not even great immortals can. It's not that the further you go, the better the resources and ease of cultivation. The first level has a lot of resources and cultivation grounds. However, the further you go, the cultivation resources doesn't increase much, but the difficulty dramatically increases. Yemo nodded. I heard there's another saying, there are 36 levels of the Chaos Star Realm. Which one is correct? Zhen Bingyu shook her head and replied, I don't know which one is correct. My master told me there are entrances to here in the middle and grand heaven domains. Even an immortal emperor wouldn't be able to figure out if the level 1 we go to at the lower heaven domain would be the same as the middle heaven domain. The Chaos Star Realm is too big. Even for the first level, no one has been able to reach the end. Yemo's spirit sense noticed that Foam Timo fought with one of the people. He was a body refinement immortal, but the other person seemed to be able to release magic artifacts. The other 2 cultivators seemed to be in a standoff and were about to fight. Yemo felt assured that the 4 didn't take away the Chaos Blue Reed because they weren't on the same grounds. These are yours. Yemo took out 10 6-winged purple radishes and gave them to Zhen Bingyu. He promised these to her. It felt uncomfortable keeping them on him. Thank you. Zhen Bingyu took them and said, after we leave the Extreme Star Swamp, I still want to team up with you for trial. Is that okay? She had some understanding of Yemo. She knew that Yemo valued cultivation resources greatly and may intervene in ones that didn't belong to him. However, he was very trustworthy and wouldn't turn on people in danger. She thought about this for a while. If she teamed up with Yemo, she didn't have to worry about backstabbing. Plus, the 2 pursued the same thing, and that was body refinement. She felt she would be able to get more benefits teaming up with Yemo. The 6-winged purple radishes were a good example. Yemo gave her 10 casually, without hesitation. If it was some selfish cultivator, she might have been killed already. No. Yemo rejected without hesitation. Zhen Bingyu was useless to him, and he had too many secrets. He hadn't exposed them yet, but Zhen Bingyu knew his heritage was substantial. Plus, she came from a great Eternity Immortal sect and had a great Eternity Immortal master. Yemo didn't want to have contact with such a person, at least not now. Plus, Zhen Bingyu's Dao heart made him feel uncomfortable. I can take you from the 1st level to the 4th level. I know a lot of places here, which places are for body refinement, which places are for spirit sense, which places are for immortal essence, and where there will be immortal spirit herbs. I know most of them. Plus, I know there's an immortal spirit herb mountain at the 4th level. It's very hidden. My master went there once, tens of thousands of years ago. After all these years, there will definitely be many more immortal spirit herbs there. Zhen Bingyu knew what Yemo thought. What levels? Yemo immediately asked. He lacked level 5 and level 6 immortal spirit herbs the most right now. Zhen Bingyu immediately said, from level 1 to level 6, there are more level 4 to level 6. But I must say this first, ordinary people can't find it at all. My master told me, so I can collect some immortal spirit herbs back. You can only take a small part. Then how much is that? Yemo didn't know how big the mountain was, and how much was a small part. Zhang Bingyu was lost for words. I don't know, I think at least a few hundred. Yemo fell in silence and said, let me think about it. Then he got up and said to her, stay here and wait for me. I'm going to leave for a while. This formation is a level 2 immortal formation. If you don't go out, there won't be any danger. Zhang Bingyu was certain that Yi Mo was going to find the chaos blue reed and immediately nodded. Okay, I'll definitely wait for you here. Yi Mo believed in his stealth cultivation method, but against a great immortal like Foam Timo, he didn't dare to be careless. The difference between a great immortal and heaven immortal wasn't anything like the difference between golden immortal and abstruse immortal. Yi Mo believed in his stealth cultivation method, but against a great immortal like Foam Timo, he didn't dare to be careless. The difference between a great immortal and heaven immortal wasn't anything like the difference between golden immortal and abstruse immortal. 6 minutes later, Yi Mo crept near the four. He chose to come at this time because the four had started fighting. Now was the safest time. Zhong being, keeping on fighting like this won't resolve anything. That chaos blue reed isn't something that one person can take down alone. So what if you and Foam Timo win? Plus, you two can't kill both me and Tan Tong. I think we should discuss how we can divide it, one fat man said. The fat man fought a ferocious-looking gray-robed man. Hearing this, he said to Foam Timo immediately, Timo, this Han Weichen is right. We should discuss things and see if we can cooperate better. Cooperate my ass. This fat pig wants us brothers to take charge, and when we divide things we get the least. He's dreaming. Foam Timo rejected without hesitation and attacked even more ferociously. Yi Mo saw that Foam Timo and Zhong Being were both body refinement cultivators, both reaching immortal nirvana body. Meanwhile, Han Weichen and Tan Tong seemed to have used a secret technique to be able to use part of their power here. But one thing was certain, these four were all great immortal power. Timo, how do you know things won't work if we don't discuss? Plus, even if you two win, do you think you two body refinement cultivators can get to the top? Do you dare to go from the bottom of the lake? Tan Tong sneered. His face was very white. If we can't go up, can you guys go up? Foam Timo rebutted. Yi Mo just realized now that it wasn't so easy to get up this peak. While the four were having fun fighting, Yi Mo quietly got near the other side of the lake. Yi Mo worried too much. These four were busy fighting, but even if they weren't, their power was suppressed, and it was very hard to find him. Yi Mo didn't dare to release flying his magic artifact. The ripples in space brought by the flying magic artifact would be caught by these four. The lake water seemed very cold, but when Yi Mo stepped foot on it, this terrifying temperature almost instantly melted his shoe. This temperature was countless times higher than the void flame. If he wasn't God's state body refinement, he might be heavily injured already. Thinking about that cold pond before, Yi Mo suddenly shivered. That pond looked normal, but it was freezing cold inside, and he found the skeleton of an ancient being there. There were 4 6-winged purple radishes outside that one. Here, the water was extremely hot and there was a chaos blue reed. Would the two be connected? He thought about when he was running, that skeleton told him he knew where the chaos blue reed was. Was that skeleton talking about here? Did that skeleton not want to possess him but make him get the chaos blue reed for him, so he could rebuild his body? Thinking about this, Yi Mo shivered. He really wanted to dash up into the sky. This searing lake felt like a monster's mouth to him. But Yi Mo resisted that urge. He just sped up a little. If he flew up now, it would be signaling to those for that someone else was here. Luckily, Yi Mo wasn't swept in by the lake water. Yi Mo landed on the peak while the four were still fighting like crazy. It seemed that they were evenly matched. Yi Mo just wanted to speed up to the mountaintop, but an invisible sword ray hacked over. The higher he went, the more dense these sword rays were. On top of that, the higher he went, the greater the pressure. It was as though the pressure wanted to push him into the lake water. Yi Mo cursed. He couldn't release his octagonal cauldron nor Zisu to block them. He could only let the sword rays tear his body. Even though he was God's state body refinement, he was covered in wounds when he was only halfway up. Even so, Yemo didn't dare to expose himself and gritted his teeth, bearing the cuts on his body as he carefully climbed up. 6 minutes later, Yemo came before the chaos blue reed bloodied, but he noticed the four had stopped fighting. Yemo carefully ate a few pills, but he didn't dig out the chaos blue reed. He hid on the side waiting. The four seemed to have started discussing. Yemo hoped the four wouldn't come to an agreement. Otherwise, even though he was next to the chaos blue reed, he wouldn't be able to take it away. Luckily, after a while, the four started fighting again. Yemo breathed easy. Yemo took away the chaos blue reed extremely quickly and went through the sword mountain before coming down to the lake. Yemo wasn't scared of the sword mountain. He was scared of this lake. He felt there was some connection to the really cold pond. Yemo darted next to the lake and carefully crept away a few kilometers before quickly releasing Blue Moon and disappearing instantly. Not good. The chaos blue reed is gone? That pale-faced Tantong was the first to notice. It was clearly there when they stopped fighting, but in a short while it was gone. Clearly someone had stole it. With it gone, the four no longer had the mood to fight. What is going on? Foam Timo frowned and asked. The chaos blue reed was very important to body refinement cultivators. It wasn't just used for nirvana, it could also allow him to reach immortal god body. There were definitely two people who stole the chaos blue reed. One person can't get it unless his spirit sense and immortal essence are both intact, and he is also a body refinement cultivator. It hasn't been more than 15 minutes since the chaos blue reed disappeared. The two didn't get far, the fat cultivator said. Search. Foam Timo said coldly. It was the first time he was so furious. Someone dared to steal the chaos blue reed in front of him. If he knew who this person was, he would eat him bite by bite. No matter how smart the fat man was, he wouldn't know that Yemo could release Blue Moon in here and was tens of thousands of kilometers away. Zhan Bingyu was in the stealth formation, but she didn't have the mood to cultivate. She was thinking about where Yemo got his heritage from. She didn't feel it was strange that Yemo became duo cultivation partners with Qin Mianmei. If the heart was connected, duo cultivation could indeed improve one's power, but using this method made it hard to achieve Vindicate Dao. Since Yemo had such good heritage and a Dao partner, he shouldn't be immersed in something as meaningless as lust. Other than some rare cultivation methods and some demon cultivators, rarely did immortals immerse themselves in lust. She was certain that Yemo's cultivation method wasn't that type of cultivation method, but she saw Yemo and Feng Chuanma come out the room that day, and Feng Chuanma's clothes were messy. Her face seemed excited too. Yet, Yemo was heartless to Feng Chuanma afterwards, leaving without even saying goodbye. She knew that Yemo didn't truly like Feng Chuanma. In that case, why did Feng Chuanma still want to send him off? She knew Feng Chuanma. She seemed really goofy, but her character was strong. She would definitely not chase up on a man after being played. The only possibility was that there was some sort of deal between them. Feng Chuanma used her virginity essence to trade something with Yemo. Suddenly, Yemo charged in, covered in blood. Before Zhan Bingyu could say anything, he quickly put away the formation flags and said, "Get on the flying magic artifact. Leave now." Suddenly, Yemo charged in, covered in blood. Before Zhan Bingyu could say anything, he quickly put away the formation flags and said, "Get on the flying magic artifact. Leave now." Zhan Bingyu knew things weren't right, and she got on Blue Moon without hesitation. Blue Moon quickly disappeared in a blue ray. "What happened? Did you fight with that Feng Timo?" Zhan Bingyu asked. "No, but if we don't leave quickly, then we'll really be fighting when they chase up. You control Blue Moon. We'll go to Chaos Star Realm's 2nd level immediately," Yemo said quickly. They had spent a few days coming in, but now Yemo put Blue Moon on max speed, and they left the extreme star swamp in half an hour. There were no cultivators at the outskirts now. These cultivators had all left. Okay. Zhen Bingyu was smart and knew that since Yi Mo let her lead the way, it meant Yi Mo agreed to team up with her. She took control of Blue Moon. Half a month later, Blue Moon was still speeding rapidly. Yi Mo killed quite a few shadowless vultures, but Zhen Bingyu said they still weren't at the second floor. Yi Mo finally couldn't resist and asked, "How far is it from level 2? 2 more months of flying," Zhen Bingyu answered. Yi Mo thought with Blue Moon's speed they would arrive in a few days, but now they still had so long to go. Yi Mo looked at her speechlessly. "Why didn't you say so earlier?" Yi Mo's wounds had recovered, but he needed to change his clothes. Plus, he needed to organize the 6-winged purple radishes he found. More importantly, Yi Mo felt Blue Moon was too slow. He wanted to use the shadowless vulture's main feather to upgrade it once. He was planning to do this at level 2, but now that it was so far away, he could only do it now. "Since it's cooperation, of course I'm going to listen to you. You didn't ask me. I thought you only wanted me to lead the way," Zhen Bingyu said. Yi Mo was dazed. He didn't agree to the cooperation. He just said he would think about it. He was planning for her to take him to level 2 and give part of the Chaos Blue Reed to her before separating. Yi Mo really wanted to go to that immortal herb mountain, but Yi Mo realized that even if he didn't go, he would be able to find a bunch of level 5 immortal spirit herbs here. He realized what Zhen Bingyu meant. He didn't say anything, so she purposely took it as accepting the cooperation. Yi Mo thought about it. Cooperation was fine. He was only going to be cultivating and collecting immortal spirit herbs. When he cultivated, he would set up a formation. Zhen Bingyu wouldn't be able to see through it. Plus, Zhen Bingyu had some secrets. He didn't feel secure letting her leave. "Find a place to rest first, then we'll go to level 2. Yi Mo nodded. Zhen Bingyu spoke very coldly, but she was very nervous inside. She was afraid Yi Mo would reject her on the spot. If Yi Mo rejected, it would really be hard for her to bring this up again. If she used her flying magic artifact, it wouldn't take 2 months, but she didn't remind Yi Mo. She wanted to waste more time. That way it would be harder for Yi Mo to reject. Now that Yi Mo said this, clearly it meant he agreed. Half an hour later, Zhen Bingyu found a seclusive valley and flew Blue Moon inside to the depths. "This place is good. We'll open up a cultivation home here." Yi Mo pointed at a small mountain in the valley. It was very simple for them. In 15 minutes, the simple cultivation home was set up. 2 rooms were opened up in the cultivation home. Yi Mo set up a defense formation and immediately took out the Chaos Blue Reed. "Chaos Blue Reed, you really got it." Zhen Bingyu's tone was shaky. Yi Mo really got such rare treasure. Yi Mo felt unsatisfied to give her half, but he didn't say much. "We'll split it now," Yi Mo said. Zhen Bingyu shook her head. "I only need 1 small branch. I didn't do anything to get this. I just told you the news. If it wasn't that this is too important for me, I wouldn't even take a small branch." Yi Mo looked at Zhen Bingyu in confusion. Since when did this woman become like this? But Yi Mo wasn't going to be polite with her since she asked to have less. Zhen Bingyu said, "You don't need to give it to me now. The Chaos Blue Reed is different than other things. It's best to use it when you go through Nirvana. Cut off a small branch for me when I Nirvana." Yi Mo heard this and thought that if she could only use a small branch, could he as well? That way the Chaos Blue Reed could stay in his golden page world. "It seems I only need a small branch too, and the Chaos Blue Reed can be grown." Yi Mo nodded. Zhen Bingyu shook her head. "That would work to break through, but if you want to reach higher levels of body refinement, I suggest you use the whole thing." Then, Zhen Bingyu sighed. If she didn't need to achieve Nirvana, she really didn't want to take Yi Mo's small branch. Using the entire Chaos Blue Reed for Nirvana was the best. But Zhen Bingyu knew that even if she didn't take the small branch, Yi Mo wouldn't be able to reach that final step. If body refinement could reach divine body, then there wouldn't be only one person to get to that step in the entire history of the immortal realm. Even for the immortal god body, there were only a few people in the entire immortal realm, and some people couldn't even reach the peak. Zhen Bingyu's Dao heart was firm. She didn't do anything to get such rare treasure, and she already felt uncomfortable. She couldn't convince herself to take half. "Okay then." Yi Mo nodded and went into a stone room. Yemo was scared that she would charge in again, so he not only set up stealth and barrier formations, but also a defense formation. Then, Yemo went into the Golden Page world and cleansed himself once before changing into a new set of clothes. The first thing Yemo did was transplant the 6-winged radishes and his chaos blue reed into his immortal spirit herb garden. There were more and more good things in the Golden Page world. Yemo satisfied himself by looking at it before taking out Blue Moon and 10 pairs of mane feathers from the shadowless vulture. He killed 18 on the way, but he only took out 10 because Zhen Bingyu said the shadowless vultures at the 2nd level were much better and faster. Half a month later, Yemo used up all his forgery materials and successfully changed Blue Moon into a level 3 flying immortal artifact. The main feathers could be used to forge the lowest level middle grade flying immortal artifact, but Yemo's immortal forgery skills were too low and could only bring it to a level 3 low grade immortal artifact. Yemo spent another half a month using the corner soul weeds to improve his spirit sense before leaving the stone room. You didn't cultivate? Yemo saw Zhen Bingyu sitting outside the stone room and asked in confusion.
No.
If we can go, let's go find a body refinement place at level 2. You have the chaos blue reed now, so you can go choose a place for nirvana. I need to reach God state too. Zhen Bingyu still had a cold face and tone. Okay. Yemo nodded. Since cultivation level was too hard to improve, then he could only reach nirvana body refinement to improve his power. If he was an immortal nirvana body now, he could fight abstruse immortal middle stages head-on. Use your flying magic artifact, it's faster, Yemo said. Use your flying magic artifact, it's faster, Yemo said. Zhen Bingyu didn't reject and nodded, releasing a rainbow stamp. Your flying and defense magic artifact are the same? Yemo asked. That's right. Zhen Bingyu nodded and said, my master used to use this, now she gave it to me. Rainbow Stamp was just a level 4 flying immortal artifact, but it was still a middle-grade flying immortal artifact. However, Yemo found that it was only a little faster than the upgraded Blue Moon. 1.5 months later, they arrived at the entrance to level 2. What shook Yemo was that there was a small marketplace here. There were tens of thousands of cultivators coming to and fro. Looking at the heavenly priced pills and magic artifact, Yemo's fire lit up. He looked apologetically at Zhen Bingyu. Martial Sister Bingyu, sorry. I need to set up a stall for pill concoction here. If you can't wait, you can go to level 2 first. I'm not in a rush, Zhen Bingyu replied plainly, clearly planning to follow Yemo no matter what. Yemo didn't know what she thought and even suspected she still was interested in his cultivation method. But he was wary, so thinking about this, Yemo nodded. In that case, help me then. Seeing Yemo and Zhen Bingyu come on a flying magic artifact here, many immortals moved over. Those who could fly in the sky weren't ordinary people. Shadowless vultures weren't something the simple defense formations on flying magic artifacts could stop. They could easily pierce level 1 defense immortal formations, and high-level shadowless vultures could penetrate level 2 and level 3 defense immortal formations. Most of the flying immortal artifacts were low-grade flying immortal artifacts and had at most level 9 spirit formations. Even middle-grade flying immortal artifacts wouldn't have a defense formation higher than a level 2 immortal formation. This was why good flying immortal artifacts were so scarce. Even the best immortal forgery master couldn't allow his forgery skills and formation skills to improve at the same time. Yemo wanted to set up a stall to collect level 5 and level 6 immortal spirit herbs. He needed immortal spirit herbs for his trial. Yemo released his extreme-grade cultivation artifact mansion and set up a sign saying, Pill Concoction can concoct level 3 and below immortal pills. The quality is definitely top-notch. Price is as below, 1 level 4 immortal spirit herb for 1 cauldron of immortal pills, 1 level 5 immortal spirit herb for 2 cauldrons of pills, level 6 immortal spirit herb price up to negotiation. Will be concocting myself. Don't accept immortal crystals. Prepare immortal spirit herb yourselves. Even in the Immortal City, where Immortal Pill Masters were very lacking, one level 4 Immortal Spirit Herb was enough for more than one cauldron of pills level 3 and below. The price EMO set was very expensive. But even so, this still caught everyone's attention. In the boundless Chaos Star realm, level 4, level 5, and even level 6 herbs could often be found, but pills wouldn't appear out of nowhere. The immortals in level 1 were mostly below great immortals. Level 3 and below pills were very important for them. Instead of putting level 4 immortal spirit herbs in their storage ring for nothing, they might as well use them for pill concoction. Plus, this simple marketplace was set up by passing immortals. The stall owners changed frequently, as they were all here for trial too. Level 3 immortal pill masters were very hard to encounter, and there were none here. Even if a powerful immortal pill master came occasionally, he could at most concoct level 2 immortal pills. You can really concoct level 3 immortal pills. One abstruse immortal primary stage came over and looked at Jinbingyu before asking carefully. The sign is very clear. You can concoct the abstruse essence pill? Of course, Yimo's answer was concise, but more convincing. If he could barely concoct level 3 immortal pills, he would use a large amount of words to persuade the customer, but Yimo valued each word he said. Okay, I believe you. You're probably a level 3 immortal pill master. You want to collect level 4 immortal spirit herbs to prepare to reach level 4 immortal pill great master, right? The abstruse immortal primary stage asked. Yimo smiled. Good eyes, friend. Zhan Bingyu shook her head speechlessly. Anyone would be able to tell this. She really didn't know that Yimo didn't even want to take level 4 immortal spirit herbs, but if he didn't, it would expose that he was a level 4 immortal pill master. Only an idiot would do such a thing. A level 3 immortal pill master was precious, but not many people would take notice. So many more people would take note of a level 4 immortal pill great master. I have a level 5 2-leaf poppy. I want to ask you to concoct 2 cauldrons of abstruse essence pills, the abstruse immortal said, and took out 2 sets of materials for the abstruse essence pill, but didn't take out the 2-leaf poppy. Yimo knew this guy would give it once he saw the pills, but he didn't mind. He took the ingredients and went inside the mansion. In just over 5 minutes, Yimo came out and took out 2 jade bottles. The pills are done, have a look. If it's right, then give the 2-leaf poppy to me. The abstruse immortal looked at Yimo in confusion. He was done with 2 cauldrons of abstruse essence pills this quickly? Even an immortal pill great master had at most this speed. Zhan Bingyu looked at Yimo in confusion. She had seen Yimo concoct this pill in the match with Gong Sunjiu, but he took half an hour. How did he become so fast? They are all top-grade immortal pills. The abstruse immortal opened the jade bottle and called out in shock. He gave the 2-leaf poppy to Yimo without hesitation. Good capabilities, friend. You can concoct top-grade immortal pills in such a short time. You're too good. Those immortals waiting for results on the side all took out their immortal spirit herbs, asking Yimo for pill concoction. Yimo rejoiced. This method always worked. Last time at the Blackweed Forest, he got large sums of immortal spirit herbs and reached level 3 immortal pill master, and then level 4 immortal pill great master. If he stayed here for a few days, it wouldn't be hard for him to reach level 5 immortal pill great master. Zhan Bingyu completely understood now. Her master's guess was right. Yimo definitely wasn't a level 3 immortal pill master. He was indeed an immortal pill great master. It was no coincidence that he beat Gong Sunjiu with 1 middle-grade immortal pill. It was completely intentional. Seeing that Yimo was too busy, Zhan Bingyu came up to help Yimo collect immortal spirit herbs while thinking how she could ask Yimo to concoct great unity pills for her. And her 11 6-winged purple radishes needed to be turned into pills as well. Thinking about this, Zhan Bingyu felt her decision to team up with Yimo was very correct. 2 days later, Yimo's pill concoction business was getting better and better. Yimo's speed was getting faster and faster, but he didn't dare to overdo it. He didn't dare to concoct a single special grade pill. Otherwise, it would mean that he was a pill concoction great master. I haven't seen such a powerful immortal pill master for so many times. I've been here for a few decades. A few years ago, this Yen level 3 Immortal Pill Master had such a level, but I feel this Immortal Pill Master is much better than that Yen. I know that Pill Master too. He went to level 2. He's indeed very good, but his pill concoction isn't as fast as this Immortal Pill Master, and his quality isn't as good either. Yemo heard these people discussing when he just came out. He had concocted pills for 7 days here, collecting quite some level 4 and level 5 Immortal Spirit Herbs. He didn't collect any level 6 Immortal Spirit Herbs, but Yemo was certain these level 5 Immortal Spirit Herbs were enough for him to reach level 5 Immortal Pill Great Master. Then he would be able to concoct Snow Wing Pills. What's the full name of that Yen Pill Master? Yemo suddenly asked. The two people on the side quickly said, he seemed to be called Yen Tantao, but he only concocted pills for a few days and went to level 2. It was him indeed. Yemo nodded and saluted with his fists. Everyone, I will be going to level 2. The pill concoction ends now. It was him indeed. Yemo nodded and saluted with his fists. Everyone, I will be going to level 2. The pill concoction ends now. Reluctant voices sounded around. Yemo's pill concoction quality was top-notch. Despite knowing he would eventually leave, people still felt reluctant. Martial Sister Bingyu, why are you here? Are you here to undergo trial 2? A crisp voice sounded, and a pretty woman walked over. There was a man next to her who was abstruse immortal primary stage. That woman was only golden immortal peak stage. Yes, Martial Sister Shangwan should be here for the same too, right? Zhan Bingyu nodded. She didn't show surprise and joy, but the coldness on her face melted a little. Yes, I really didn't expect to be able to see Martial Sister Bingyu here. You're already abstruse immortal now, and I'm still golden immortal peak stage. Sigh, Shangwan said dejectedly. But soon, the dejection was gone, and she said happily, Martial Sister Bingyu, it's so good to see you. We can trial together. By the way, let me introduce you. This is my martial brother, Liao Nancheng. Martial brother. This is Martial Sister Bingyu I often talk about. She's from Gonghua, Heaven's Great Eternity Immortal Sect, Extreme Sword Sect. He is? Shangwan just wanted to ask who Yemo was and saw the sign that Yemo hadn't put away yet and asked, this martial brother is an immortal pill master? She called Yemo martial brother, completely, due to Zhen Bingyu. Yemo's power was lower than hers, and Zhen Bingyu never stayed with male cultivators. Now that she did, there must be something going on. Yes, he's Yemo, a solo cultivator, and also a level 3 immortal pill master. Zhen Bingyu nodded. Great, if we trial together we can ask Martial Brother Yi to help with pill concoction. Shangwan clearly didn't have many calculations and said things straightforwardly. I've long heard of Goddess Bingyu's fame. Now that I see you, it's indeed true. Liao Nancheng greeted her. Zhen Bingyu was cold, but she didn't ignore people. She greeted back. But Zhen Bingyu didn't introduce Shangwan to Yemo. Yemo didn't ask as well. It had nothing to do with him. Martial Sister Bingyu, let's go to level 2 together. I will get to abstruse immortal before coming out, Shangwan repeated. Hearing this, Yemo immediately knew she was simple-minded. She will reach abstruse immortal? Didn't that mean she had the level 3 immortal pill abstruse will pill? If she went out alone, just with what she said there would be many golden immortals waiting for her at level 2. Abstruse will pill was a pill that could allow golden immortal peak stages to reach abstruse immortal. It was one of the most sought-after pills by golden immortals. Before Zhen Bingyu could reject, Shangwan came up to Yemo and said, Martial Brother Yi, I'm Shangwan. I come from Yu Hung Heaven. Hearing this, Yemo was shook. He was very sensitive to Yu Hung Heaven. Yemo immediately smiled. I come from Gonghua Heaven, but I'm just a solo cultivator. My sect is the Great Extreme Immortal Sect Cloud River Sect. If you and Martial Sister Bingyu go to Yu Hung Heaven, you must come. I heard that Yu Hung Heaven is very big, and that the Heaven Lord there is a status immortal. No. Who did you hear that from? He's still Great Eternity Immortal Peak Stage, but it probably won't be long for Heaven Lord Lu to reach status immortal. He's inviting all the immortals in the heaven domains who are good at fortune-telling. It said he wants to calculate the fortune of you hung heaven. Hearing this, Yemo was shook. Calculate? This guy definitely wanted to find him. Thinking about this, he quickly asked, what are the results? They're just starting now. It's said that this calculation will take decades, or even centuries, Shangwan said. Zhen Bingyu and Liao Nancheng didn't expect Yemo and Shangwan would talk so much after meeting for the first time. Zhen Bingyu immediately reacted. Yemo had this passion. He seemed to like pretty immortal girls. Didn't he do this at the extreme sword sect? No wonder Feng Chunma was so reluctant to let him go. Just look at the gentle way he spoke to Shangwan. Liao Nancheng frowned and looked displeased. He wanted to talk some more to Zhen Bingyu, but she didn't have the mood to do that and instead looked at Yemo as though waiting for Yemo to talk to her. After a long while, she saw they were still talking, so she could only interrupt. Are we going to level 2 now? Yes, of course. Yemo came back to his senses, realizing that Zhen Bingyu was getting suspicious. Okay, Martial Sister Bingyu, let's go together. I enjoy talking to Martial Brother Yi, Shangwan quickly said. Seeing that Yemo didn't object, Zhen Bingyu could only nod, and the four walked towards level 2 together. Yemo wasn't going to actually trial with them together, but they could walk together for a while. He still had some questions to ask Shangwan. There was a barrier between level 1 and level 2, and it was very simple. Any golden immortal would be able to tear it open. After going in, Yemo didn't feel it was much different than level 1 other than the gravity increasing by quite a bit. Seeing Yemo still ask Shangwan all sorts of questions non-stop, Zhen Bingyu was really speechless. She would have already left if she didn't want a trial with Yemo. Not just Zhen Bingyu and Liao Nancheng, even Shangwan noticed something wasn't right. Yemo seemed to be getting too close to her and clearly finding nonsense questions to ask. For example, which immortal city did Lu Jingquan live in? How many years has Lu Jingquan been cultivating? Which were the biggest sects in Yuheng Heaven? Would these sects listen to the Heaven Lord? At least to Shangwan, it seemed like Yemo was finding ways to talk to her. Shangwan didn't object against this. Yemo was not only an immortal pill master, but he also seemed very amicable. He didn't seem arrogant due to being an immortal pill master at all, and knew how to respect people. So despite knowing that Yemo was sucking up to her, she still enjoyed talking. Wan, come over. Liao Nancheng couldn't take it anymore and didn't even call her Martial Sister. What is it, Martial Brother? I'm talking to Martial Brother Yi. Shangwan didn't even look back and kept introducing all the rules of the #1 immortal city, Feng Gang Immortal City in Yuheng Heaven, and where the Heaven Lord's estate was in the city. Martial Brother Yi, do you really like Yuheng Heaven? Shangwan laughed. Yemo was shook. He knew he was being too desperate. If he kept asking, she might notice that he cared about Lu Jingquan. Yemo quickly smiled. No, I want to know about every heaven domain. By the way, where is your Cloud River sect? Is there a big immortal city nearby? Can you tell me about it? Yemo quickly asked some other questions. Just when Yemo thought he asked enough, Zhen Bingyu couldn't take it anymore and asked, Yemo, do you still want to undergo trials? Right, I'm going to other places to trial. Martial Sister Shangwan, we'll meet again, Yemo quickly said. Martial Sister Bingyu, aren't we going to undergo trial together? Shangwan looked at Zhen Bingyu in confusion. Zhen Bingyu frowned. Martial Sister Shangwan, I still have some other business with Martial Brother Yi. We can't go with you guys for now. We'll be off first. We'll meet again.
Oh.
Shangwan looked at Yemo reluctantly. She felt she could really get along with Martial Brother Yi. No matter what she said, Martial Brother Yi was a very good listener and asked a few questions sometimes for her to explain. This satisfied her pride greatly. She wanted to undergo trial with Yemo, but Martial Sister Bingyu seemed to be getting jealous. But she thought too much. She at most had a good impression towards Martial Brother Yi. Seeing the two leave, Liao Nancheng breathed easy. That pill master Yi was too shameless. He had a goddess like Zhen Bingyu with him, but still tried to chat up his martial sister. Yemo sat on the rainbow stamp, with his brows locked tightly. Lu Jingquan was using immortals to calculate where he was. From this, it was certain that this bastard was trying to search for Luo Yu continent. What if he went there? At this moment, Yemo felt he was so tiny. He knew where his enemies were, but he didn't have the power to touch them. Seeing Yemo frown and not talk, Zhen Bingyu sighed helplessly. Martial brother Yi, you just got the Chaos Blue Reed and have such a good heritage. I don't feel you should put your mind on such things. Seeing Yemo frown and not talk, Zhen Bingyu sighed helplessly. Martial brother Yi, you just got the Chaos Blue Reed and have such a good heritage. I don't feel you should put your mind on such things. Yemo couldn't be bothered explaining, so he said, I like lust. Mind your own business. Just take me to the body refinement place. I'm preparing for nirvana. Zhen Bingyu shook her head and couldn't be bothered persuading him. A month later, Yemo killed 8 more shadowless vultures before coming to a dark red forest. Where is this place? Yemo asked in confusion. There was nothing in his jade slip about the second level of the Chaos Star Realm. Foam Chuanma's brother only went to trial at the first level. This is the Star Realm Fire Forest. The deeper inside, the higher the temperature. At the center of the forest, even an immortal spirit body, immortals won't be able to handle it. There are also fire beams in the depth. They can't be seen, and with one mistake you would be heavily injured. If you want to achieve nirvana, this is the best place, Zhen Bingyu said. Yemo nodded. It seemed teaming up with Zhen Bingyu had its benefits. At least he was very happy with this place for nirvana. Nirvana came from the ancient Phoenix clan. The ancestor of the Phoenix race had the first nirvana in the flames. Zhen Bingyu continued, if I was to come here alone, I would need a few years. You can't fly in the air at level 2 either, but there's also danger walking on the ground. There's a lethal force called Whirlpool Void. If cultivators accidentally go in, they will be swept to some unknown space and disappear. There's no sign to tell when it will appear. It might just be below you, and you won't even know. Yemo sighed. Okay, thanks. Without you leading the way, I wouldn't be able to find this place. Let's go in. Zhen Bingyu slowed down the rainbow stamp and charged into the fire forest. A day later, Zhen Bingyu put the flying immortal artifact away as they landed on the dark red earth. This temperature was intolerable to ordinary immortals. If Zhen Bingyu wasn't King State and abstruse immortal, she wouldn't be able to bear it too. After walking a while, Zhen Bingyu couldn't take it anymore. She was covered in sweat, and her clothes stuck to her body, outlining her beautiful curves. Seeing Yemo look at her, Zhen Bingyu said plainly, no need to look at me, and you don't need to say what you said to Shangwan to me. I won't do those sort of things with you. Yemo replied plainly as well, didn't you say your body was just flesh and bones? You didn't mind before, since it's so hot here, why don't you take off the clothes on your flesh and bones? This isn't something that can be solved by taking clothes off. Plus, I feel you're right. Even if it's just flesh and bones, one still needs to consider embarrassment. So, don't even think about me taking off clothes in front of you again, Zhen Bingyu said coldly. Since when did I say that? Yemo dazed. Zhen Bingyu sneered and said no more. She was greatly disappointed in Yemo's cultivation will. After walking for another half an hour, Zhen Bingyu stopped and announced, I'll practice body refinement here. You can go in further. Yemo nodded and kept walking deeper. After another 15 minutes, Yemo stopped at a space made up of 4 huge gray trees. The trees surrounding this area had fire rays that zoomed past from time to time. When Yemo stopped, the scorching heat turned all his clothes and armor to air. Yemo knew this was his limit. This would be where he reached nirvana. Invisible scorching flames surrounded Yemo. Even all his hair turned to dust now. The fire burned Yemo's body, making sizzling sounds. Yemo didn't care at all, and just ran his body refinement cultivation method, trying to reach nirvana. As Yemo used his body refinement cultivation method, more invisible flames swept over. Even the invisible flames here had developed some consciousness after countless years. Yemo was having nirvana here, so he needed to gather immortal spirit chi, which in turn caused more fire rays to come. Countless fire rays struck him, and Yemo's God state body refinement defense started to cripple. A blood arrow shot out, but it soon turned to nothing. Yemo kept using his body refinement cultivation method, controlling the refinement of his body from his blood to his bones. When Yemo felt that his body couldn't take that terrifying laceration, he cut off a rather large branch from the chaos blue reed and immediately fused the entire chaos blue reed into his flesh. The dried-up blood and flesh revitalized with boundless life force. Blood, flesh, and essence blood was born again and refined. Eventually, Yemo's essence, spirit, and flesh fused together again like a new life. His hair started to grow slowly, without being destroyed in the flame. At this moment, Yemo was completely asleep. His body floated up between the 4 trees. Yemo didn't know he would sleep during nirvana, or he would set up a defense formation no matter what. Eventually, Yemo didn't even need to consciously use the body refinement cultivation method as it ran itself. An invisible powerful chi started to emanate from Yemo's body and slowly cover him. Eventually, it formed a plain mist on Yemo's body while more scorching heat rushed over from the fire forest. The mist didn't dissipate no matter what and kept circulating Yemo. 1 month, 2 months, half a year. Yemo didn't seem to wake up at all while the mist around him was weakening. Zhan Bingyu walked a few steps in joy. In half a year she had reached God state. She was planning to spend about 10 years to reach God state and use a few more decades to bring it to God state peak stage and then reach nirvana here. Yet she reached God state in half a year. The body refinement cultivation method of Yemo was too absurd. She was certain that not even the 11 grand heaven domains had such absurd body refinement cultivation methods. Looking at her smoother and silkier skin, Zhan Bingyu didn't care. She didn't care if her skin looked good or not. If reaching God state meant her skin would turn dry, she would still choose it. However, she knew that body refinement would only make one's body more and more perfect. Did he succeed with nirvana? Zhan Bingyu muttered and took out a set of clothes. She felt she seemed to have been affected by Yemo. Even though it was just flesh and bones, it was her privacy. Zhan Bingyu's cultivation level was higher than Yemo, and she had reached God state body refinement. So, she could barely match Yemo's God state tertiary stage. She walked for about 15 minutes and saw Yemo hanging between 4 trees. There was a faint mist around Yemo and immortal spirit chi circulating around his body. Clearly, he hadn't finished nirvana yet. Nirvana causes sleep? Zhan Bingyu asked herself in confusion and walked a few steps closer. As soon as she did, more terrifying flames instantly turned her clothes to ash. Looking at Yemo hanging in the air naked and looking at herself, she felt very strange. Chapter 1597. Breakthrough to Immortal Nirvana Body. Chapter 1597. Breakthrough to Immortal Nirvana Body. Yemo was not only lustful, but also a madman. If he wasn't a madman, he wouldn't cross the heaven domain void alone. If he wasn't a madman, he wouldn't steal the chaos blue reed from those great immortals. Zhan Bingyu thought of this and subconsciously quickly moving away. When she was at a place where she was unaffected, she quickly changed into a set of clothes and continued body refinement on the side, waiting for Yemo to wake up. 3 days later, Yemo felt a coolness in his sea of consciousness. He suddenly opened his eyes and a powerful and free feeling surged up his mind. It was as though his body and soul fused together, his spirit sense and immortal essence greatly improved. His nirvana was successful. Yemo flipped up in surprise and joy. Looking at his perfectly shaped body, Yemo felt a deep sense of satisfaction. What surprised him more was that not only did he successfully nirvana, but his spirit sense and immortal essence were greatly increased. He was golden immortal middle stage peak, just 1 step away from golden immortal tertiary stage. So he hadn't reached this level before because his body wasn't strong enough. Immortal nirvana body was indeed hugely different from God state. This indescribable feeling made Yemo very satisfied. The terrifying temperature here and the dense fire rays were like nothing to him now. This powerful feeling was good indeed. Yemo howled, releasing the excitement in his heart. Even if he fought with that abstruse, immortal middle stage again, he could kill him with formations. Yi Mo howled, wanting to find someone to share his joy. Nirvana was as important to him as reaching great immortal. He knew that using the Chaos Blue Reed to achieve Nirvana, his body refinement future would be very smooth. By the way, Zhen Bingyu was here. How was she now? At least she could share the joy of his Nirvana. Thinking about this, Yi Mo used a few cleansing spells and changed into a new set of clothes and walked out of the 4 trees. But then he turned back and wrote the words, Yi Mo reached Nirvana here. He finally shared some of the joy in his heart before leaving slowly. Yi Mo didn't go very far and saw Zhen Bingyu standing not far away. Yi Mo was in a great mood. Even Zhen Bingyu didn't seem as annoying as before. Martial Sister Bingyu, since you can come here, you must have reached God's state right. Congratulations. Yi Mo saluted with his fists and smiled. Zhen Bingyu coldly said, you want to congratulate yourself. If I'm not wrong, you probably successfully went through Nirvana. That's right. Thanks for the news of Chaos Blue Reed you provided. Otherwise, even if I reached Nirvana, it wouldn't be this perfect, Yi Mo answered. By the way, did you long reach God's state? Yi Mo asked. Zhen Bingyu was indeed happy for Yi Mo in her heart. She had seen Yi Mo's efforts. Although he had a bad hobby, his pursuit for Tao and cultivation was no weaker than hers. Going through the Heaven Domain Void, coming back bloodied for the Chaos Blue Reed, he must have gone through a lot. But she didn't like to show expressions and emotions. Her tone was still cold as she said, thank you for your body refinement cultivation method. I indeed have long reached God's state. I still went to see. Suddenly she stopped. Yi Mo frowned. He was naked in body refinement cultivation. Plus, she wasn't at God's state before and spirit sense couldn't expand in the forest, so he didn't worry. Now that she was God's state, she could get to him. Didn't that mean she saw everything? Thinking about this, Yi Mo was a little uncomfortable. He glanced at her and said, you looked at me when I was sleeping in Nirvana? No, Zhen Bingyu said and blushed for the first time in her memory. She wasn't embarrassed for seeing Yi Mo naked. It was her first time lying, and she wasn't used to it. No, Yi Mo sneered. Did you know your face gets red when you lie? Or, do you not know your face is red? Zhen Bingyu was lost for words. Of course, she knew she blushed, but she didn't understand. She was an abstruse immortal and a God-state body refinement. How come she couldn't control her blushing? I've already warned you that my body isn't just flesh and bones to me. Our Tao heart is different. If you're still going to be like this, we can only split up, Yi Mo said. This time, Zhen Bingyu was truly angry. If it wasn't for her great Tao, she would have left already. There's nothing to see. You saw my flesh and bones too. If you want to see it, I'll show you again. Zhen Bingyu spoke coldly but added uncomfortably, no matter how firm your cultivation will is, your Tao heart predestines you won't be able to reach very high. Yi Mo couldn't be bothered to talk to her anymore. Although Zhen Bingyu really wanted to cultivate till Nirvana before leaving, Yi Mo was planning to leave, so she could only follow. She knew the benefits of staying with Yi Mo, so no matter how much Yi Mo raged, she would follow him. She wouldn't mind as long as it would speed up her cultivation speed. Yi Mo needed Zhen Bingyu too. She knew this place much better than him. If he wanted good trial grounds in here, he would need her to lead the way. Where do you want to go next? Zhen Bingyu asked, seeing that Yi Mo ignored her. Is there a place to cultivate spirit sense? Yi Mo knew cultivation state took a long while to improve and spirit sense was very important to him, so he had to improve that quickly. You have a spirit sense cultivation method as well? Zhen Bingyu called out in shock. She had long suspected Yi Mo of this. Yi Mo shook his head. No. Can one not cultivate spirit sense without it? Yi Mo wasn't going to reveal it to Zhen Bingyu. Zhen Bingyu sighed, but was still suspicious. Not really, but without a spirit sense cultivation method, it's extremely hard to cultivate spirit sense. There are many places here to cultivate spirit sense. The most famous place is the Corner Soul Domain. In the Corner Soul Domain, Yi Mo suddenly interrupted her. He thought of corner soul weeds. Why did the two sound the same? Yi Mo looked at Yi Mo in confusion and nodded. That's right, corner soul domain, what about it? I'm an immortal pill master, you know. I've seen a jade slip about an immortal spirit herb that can repair soul and spirit sense. It's called corner soul weed, have you heard about it? Yi Mo asked casually. Zhan Bingyu nodded. Of course I have. In the immortal realm, it's the highest level item for cultivating spirit sense. Clear weed can be used to concoct dual spirit pills. It's a level 6 immortal pill, and the best pill to repair spirit sense for those below status immortal. Dark weed is very hard to get, but it can be concocted into the level 9 immortal pill, Emperor Spirit Pill. Even status immortals have great difficulty getting it. It's extremely precious. I heard that corner soul weed's appearance is related to the corner soul domain. But I don't know if it's true or not, because no one knows where there is corner soul weed, Zhan Bingyu continued. Hearing this, Yi Mo's heart rustled. Other people didn't know, but he did. He had large amounts of corner soul weeds too. Talk about the corner sea domain. Why is it related to corner soul weed? Yi Mo asked. Talk about the corner sea domain. Why is it related to corner soul weed? Yi Mo asked. Zhan Bingyu agreed. It said that in the ancient immortal realm, there was an unparalleled powerful being, a person called Mu Wushuang. He was solitary and didn't like to start trouble, but he liked the thing between men and women just like you. Yi Mo sneered. Since he liked that, then he shouldn't have been able to become a powerful being. How did he become one then? Zhan Bingyu didn't seem to realize Yi Mo's scorn and continued. It's because of this flaw that he didn't become the pinnacle powerful being, and his end was tragic. Mu Wushuang had 18 concubines, and every one of them was extremely beautiful. He loved them all until one day, he was invited by the Heaven Lord of the number 1 heaven domain in the 33 heavens, Qingwei Heaven's Wei Feng Immortal Emperor. Wei Feng Immortal Emperor was the number 1 immortal emperor of the 33 heavens. Although he wasn't necessarily the strongest, Mu Wushuang had to show him face, so he brought his 18 wives with him. Other than Mu Wushuang, he also invited the other 10 heaven lords of the 11 grand heaven domains. They were all immortal emperors. This immortal fruit party was supposed to be very good, but there are some things that even immortal emperors can't control. Just when the party was about to end, something happened. Yi Mo asked, what happened? After the part, Wei Feng Immortal Emperor brought the guests to enjoy the view in his garden, but the problem happened there. Mu Wushuang saw the woman that he couldn't forget the most there. That was the person he loved the most before he reached Great Immortal. Then, that female immortal disappeared, and he had never been able to find her. However, that woman was in Wei Feng Immortal Emperor's garden and was his concubine. Mu Wushuang was emotional and just charged at that female immortal and grabbed her, asking why. Zhan Bingyu sighed and shook her head. Yi Mo knew that Wushuang Immortal Emperor's actions were indeed too agitated. But then Yi Mo asked himself, if that was him, would he be able to calm down? If he saw Mu Xiaoyan at some immortal emperor's place, would he be able to calm down? Yi Mo shivered. He knew he wouldn't even if he knew the consequences. Then they fought. Yi Mo sighed. Zhan Bingyu nodded. They didn't fight on the spot, but Wei Feng Immortal Emperor was furious. The other few immortal emperors there persuaded him and finally calmed his anger, but Wushuang Immortal Emperor needed to compensate him. Originally, if he compensated, this would be over. However, Wushuang Immortal Emperor didn't care and was still going to take Wei Feng Immortal Emperor's concubine. He said he needed to ask her face to face why this would be. Wei Feng Immortal Emperor was furious and said Wushuang had to leave all his 18 concubines behind or this wouldn't be over. The end result was that they all fought. Yi Mo sneered. Wei Feng Immortal Emperor and the other immortal emperors didn't know that woman was Wushuang Immortal Emperor's woman before. Since they did, and they still let them accidentally meet each other, I don't think things are so simple. Zhan Bingyu looked coldly at Emo and said, "If you dare to say this in front of someone else, I can promise you won't live for more than 3 years." Emo knew Zhan Bingyu said this out of goodwill, so he didn't argue. Seeing this, Zhan Bingyu breathed easy and said, because reason was on Wei Feng Immortal Emperor's side. When the two fought, the other 10 Immortal Emperors all helped Wei Feng Immortal Emperor. Emo was shook. This meant that Wushuang Immortal Emperor was just too powerful. Otherwise, even if he was wrong, the other Immortal Emperors didn't need to gang up on him. That battle was heaven-shaking and earth-rattling. They fought from Qingwei Heaven to the Void, then the Void to Middle Heaven domains, and then to Low Heaven domains. Even countless planets in the cosmos were destroyed. If they weren't fighting in the Void, perhaps even Heaven domains would be destroyed. Wushuang Immortal Emperor hadn't attained the Tao, but his power was indeed unparalleled. More than 10 people attacked him, but he killed 9 Immortal Emperors and escaped into the Chaos Star Realm, heavily injured. Hearing this, Emo was shook and immediately asked, "You're saying Mu Wushuang is in the Chaos Star Realm?" Yes, he had nowhere to go, so he came here, but those Immortal Emperors chasing him were also heavily injured. They knew Wushuang Immortal Emperor was dead for sure and didn't want to go in and die with him. The Chaos Star Realm at the time was different to now. Those who went in would die for sure, Zhan Bingyu said. Then Wushuang Immortal Emperor is certainly dead. Emo asked again. Zhan Bingyu nodded. Probably because a few 100,000 years ago, a few more Immortal Emperors went in here together and saw the corpse of Wushuang Immortal Emperor at level 2. The Corner Soul Domain is a small world of Wushuang Immortal Emperor. It said there is Wushuang Immortal Emperor's heritage in the Corner Soul Domain. Over the years, countless people have gone there in search of Wushuang Immortal Emperor's heritage, but no one has ever been able to find it. Then how did the Corner Soul Weed appear? At the beginning, people found Corner Soul Weeds at the Corner Soul Domain, but as more and more people went, there were less that could be found. Eventually, people couldn't find any. It was too easy to die in the Corner Soul Domain, so few people went. Tens of thousands of years later, people from the cultivation realm brought Corner Soul Weeds here. It's really easy to die in the Corner Soul Domain. Yes, at the beginning, there was less than a 50% chance of dying, and when the Corner Soul Weed was found, the chances were even greater. Later on the chances decreased, but people could only refine their spirit since there so few people went. Does Wushuang Immortal Emperor have something very important? Wushuang Immortal Emperor had multiple small worlds, and it said he also had a true spirit world. When he went into the Chaos Star Realm, his true spirit world disappeared. How could Wushuang Immortal Emperor fight so many Immortal Emperors at the same time? It's because he has the best spirit sense cultivation method. An Immortal Emperor who had the same cultivation level as him wouldn't be able to survive at all due to his spirit sense cultivation method. So that's it. Emo nodded. He realized why he would be ambushed. A true spirit world wasn't as good as a chaos world, but it was countless times better than a small world. The truth spirit world could allow up to truth realization state cultivators to stay in. That Wei Feng Immortal Emperor was definitely a sinister person. Is Wei Feng Immortal Emperor still alive? Emo disliked this Wei Feng Immortal Emperor. This guy was a harm to the world. Zhan Bingyu looked speechlessly at Emo. The most authoritative figure in the 33 heavens is Wei Feng Immortal Emperor. You tell me if he's alive. 100,000 years ago, he personally went to the Corner Soul Domain to check and learned that Wushuang Immortal Emperor was indeed dead. The 18 imprisoned concubines all disappeared too. Some say they committed suicide, while some say they ran away. Then what about the woman who started the trouble? How would I know? Zhan Bingyu rolled her eyes and continued, when you were at the Far Star Castle, did you see a few thousand Jifeng Heaven Domains immortals? I did. What's wrong? Emo nodded. They're going to Corner Soul Domain to trial. I heard the conversation between 2 of them at level 1. They want to go find Wushuang Immortal Emperor's heritage there, Zhan Bingyu said. Emo asked in confusion, didn't you say that in these few 100,000 years, No one has been able to find it. Zhan Bingyu frowned. I thought so too, but for some reason Jifeng Heaven is doing this. I was planning to go see too, but I met you and body refined until now. If you go in the corner soul domain, your spirit sense will be limited. So, immortals will try to extend their spirit sense. If they really did, then it meant your spirit sense was improving. Yi Mo said without hesitation. Let's go there now. Ever since the death rate of the corner soul domain dropped, a little less than half the immortals at level 2 went there. Ever since the death rate of the corner soul domain dropped, a little less than half the immortals at level 2 went there. Although spirit sense cultivation methods were very rare, every cultivator knew about the importance of spirit sense. 10 days later, Zhan Bingyu's rainbow stamp landed outside some rubble. This is the corner soul domain? Yi Mo looked at this endless ruin and asked. At this place he thought of the Heartless Sea's lost soul ruins. This place gave him a very eerie feeling. It didn't seem like a place for refining spirit sense. Yi Mo didn't expect that there had been a city here, but it was destroyed. Yes, this is corner soul domain. Some people say it's Wushuang Immortal Emperor's small world, and some say it's his true spirit world, but a long time ago, people indeed found some good things here. There were high-level immortal spirit herbs and top-grade cultivation methods, but more importantly, this was the best place to refine spirit sense, Zhan Bingyu explained. There were some immortals here who hadn't gone in. Seeing Yi Mo and Zhan Bingyu come down from the sky, they were all amazed. The shadowless vulture at level 2 was so much more powerful than at level 1. Although many people were curious, none came up to ask. Yi Mo looked like he was golden immortal primary stage, but his ferocious chi was denser than ordinary abstruse immortals. Zhan Bingyu was extremely beautiful. Even immortals would take a few extra glances. Yi Mo didn't know what others thought. He just went through nirvana and couldn't hide his ferocious chi. Friend, are you not afraid of the shadowless vulture? An extremely bulky-looking golden immortal peak stage walked up to Yi Mo and saluted with his fists. Yi Mo didn't mind and answered, My flying magic artifact can sense the shadowless vulture, so with preparation you can kill shadowless vulture as soon as they attack. So that means you've killed quite a lot of shadowless vultures, the golden immortal peak stage asked desperately. Yi Mo nodded. Not much, just 8. Friend, I have many immortal spirit herbs and forgery materials. Can I exchange some for some shadowless vulture cores and mane feathers? Then the golden immortal peak stage showed a few immortal spirit herbs and pulled out a pile of materials. Seeing these materials, Yi Mo was immediately interested. He couldn't forge a middle-grade immortal artifact yet, but there were some level 4 immortal-grade materials here. How much do you want to trade? Yi Mo asked. How about 5 pairs? No, just 4 pairs of mane feathers and 4 beast cores, the golden immortal peak stage asked desperately. Yi Mo thought for a moment. The value of these things were far higher than shadowless vulture mane feathers, but it was hard to hunt shadowless vultures, and the value wasn't easy to evaluate. 3 pairs plus 3 beast cores, Yi Mo said.
Deal.
The golden immortal peak stage gave his things all to Yi Mo. Seeing this, people all came over wanting to trade with Yi Mo. Seeing Yi Mo was willing to take forgery materials, people all used forgery materials to trade. After all, immortal spirit herbs were far more useful for cultivation. In a short while, all of the leftover shadowless vulture mane feathers were traded away. As for the shadowless vultures he hunted at level 2, Yi Mo didn't plan to trade them for the moment. The longer Zhan Bingyu stayed with Yi Mo, the more she felt she didn't understand him. She knew Yi Mo might be an immortal pill great master and was a level 2 immortal formation master. He was at least golden immortal middle stage and was an immortal nirvana body refinement cultivator. Now she began to suspect Yi Mo of being an immortal forgery master, an immortal forgery great master. But she didn't ask this as she knew Yi Mo wouldn't say anything. After the exchange, even some abstruse immortal looked at Yi Mo with respectful glances. Yi Mo used genuine shadowless vulture materials to trade. This meant that he could hunt shadowless vultures whenever he wanted. How could someone like that be simple? Yi Mo walked to the bulky golden immortal peak stage and saluted with his fists. Friend, may I ask if you're going to corner Soul Domain for trial? Of course. The golden immortal peak stage was happy with Yi Mo and said, I come from Jifeng Heaven's great extreme immortal sect Golden Light Sect. This is a trial and tournament for all the sects in Jifeng Heaven. How does it work? Yi Mo asked. People can't extend spirit sense out in the corner soul domain, but immortal essence remains unaffected. Whoever can find the most corner soul mushrooms is the winner, the golden immortal peak stage answered. Corner soul mushroom? Yi Mo frowned and looked Zhan Bingyu. Zhan Bingyu shook her head. The golden immortal peak stage smiled. It's nothing strange that you guys don't know. Corner soul mushroom haven't appeared in the corner soul domain for long, at most a few years. It's because they appeared that we're having this tournament. What's the use of the corner soul mushrooms? Yi Mo asked. They can be used to concoct spirit sense recovery pills, level 2 immortal pills. It has little use for great immortals but are rather good for abstruse immortal and below. It can also be directly consumed, and one can even learn the use of spirit sense from it, the golden immortal answered. Yi Mo asked, then have you found them? The cultivator shook his head. It's very hard to find them. I haven't even seen one yet. Then he passed a picture to Yi Mo. Look, this is corner soul mushroom. Yi Mo looked at the dull gray mushroom and saluted with his fists. Thank you, friend. We're going inside to refine spirit sense. Farewell. Then Yi Mo followed Zhan Bingyu into the ruins. As soon as they came in, he felt his spirit sense was suppressed to a meter, but he wasn't worried. With the experience in the extreme star canopy, he would use his 3-birth chant and see if it could recover. Even if he couldn't, he wasn't scared now that he was an immortal nirvana body cultivator. But the only thing he worried about was that when he came in here, the eerie feeling grew more intense. Zhan Bingyu went with Yi Mo for a while before saying, Martial Brother Yi, my master had come in here a few times and our sect leader has too, but they've never heard about some corner soul mushroom. I feel this is very strange. If they could repair spirit sense, then it would be very precious no matter what level they are. How can there be no news of them? Yi Mo nodded. This is strange indeed, but we haven't found one yet, so we don't know what's strange about it. We'll know after we find one. 3 days later, Yi Mo and Zhan Bingyu came to the depths of the corner soul domain. In a broken-down house, Yi Mo set up a stealth restriction and said to Zhan Bingyu, I'm going to see if I can recover my spirit sense. Zhan Bingyu nodded and just sat on the side, waiting for Yi Mo. After a day of trying, Yi Mo found his spirit sense extended over 2 meters, but it was harder to go any further. Yi Mo took out a clear weed and started using it while trying to extend his spirit sense. What shook Yi Mo was when he used corner soul weed, his spirit sense extended rapidly. After one was used up, his spirit sense could extend to a distance over 100 kilometers away. A day later, Yi Mo's spirit sense had completely recovered. He realized that this place could refine spirit sense for other cultivators, but not him. If his spirit sense could recover anywhere, then no place would be good for him. Just when Yi Mo wanted to leave, his spirit sense scanned that Zhan Bingyu was fighting with a fatty. Zhan Bingyu wasn't inside the house anymore, but clearly she was no match for that fatty. If that fatty wasn't toying with her, she would have been killed already. Just when Yi Mo wanted to leave, his spirit sense scanned that Zhan Bingyu was fighting with a fatty. Zhan Bingyu wasn't inside the house anymore, but clearly she was no match for that fatty. If that fatty wasn't toying with her, she would have been killed already. Yi Mo sneered and put away the formation flag. Zhan Bingyu was struck by the fatty and spat blood in the air before flying back towards Yi Mo. So you have an entry gong. No wonder you didn't want to leave here. The fat man saw Yi Mo come back. Yi Mo caught Zhan Bingyu and gave her a pill. Rest for a while. I know this fat man. You're no match for him. Zhan Bingyu knew Yi Mo's power and nodded while retreating. What Yi Mo didn't expect was that when the fat man heard his words, there was shocking fury in his eyes. He said coldly, So it's you too? Yi-Mo frowned and didn't talk, but the fat man asked, "Did you steal the Chaos Blue Reed?" This shocked Yi-Mo. Did one have remnant chi of the Chaos Blue Reed after using it for body refinement? He didn't feel it at all. Zhan Bingyu was shook. She didn't expect Yi-Mo stole the Chaos Blue Reed from this fat man. Yi-Mo had such guts. This fat man was at least a golden immortal and had part of his spirit sense left. Zhan Bingyu quickly said, "This person has spirit sense equivalent to a hollow immortal." Yi-Mo knew this fat man was called Han Weichen, a great unity immortal. If this wasn't the corner soul domain, he would run as far away as he can. No matter how absurd a golden immortal middle stage was, there was no way he would be a match for a great unity immortal. What he was confused about was how this fat man knew he stole the Chaos Blue Reed. Then, Yi-Mo realized he shouldn't have said he knew this fat man. The fat man never saw him before, so he immediately thought of the extreme star canopy. "Tell me, is it you?" the fat man yelled, clearly not very sure, but his tone was shaky. He hoped it was Yi-Mo who stole it. If it was, then he wouldn't need to split it with the rest of the three. He would get it and run away as far as possible and go into solitary cultivation. "You really talk too much." Yi-Mo hacked over. Han Weichen stopped talking. His killing intent exploded. The volatile immortal essence shook the space around him. He used all his power as a great unity immortal against Yi-Mo. Even though he could only control his spirit sense to about hollow immortal through a secret technique, it wasn't something Yi-Mo could stop. There was seriousness in Yi-Mo's eyes. He used illusion cloud formation kill strike immediately. This was his cultivation realm sword ability, but as his power increased, it was far from what it was before. Yi-Mo hacked out the endless sword rays, while Han Weichen's red tower smashed down too. Yi-Mo breathed easy, however. If Han Weichen didn't use magic and just fought with him head-on, he would have to dodge, but magic was limited by spirit sense. He was an immortal nirvana body, so he could take a blow from hollow immortal spirit sense despite his powerful immortal essence. So Yi-Mo ignored the tower and instead used illusion cloud domain kill strike next. He also released tens of dark lightning bolts and shadowless. Han Weichen's red tower grew bigger and bigger, but it didn't land. The faint red rays had shone upon Yi-Mo already. A tearing pain came, and Yi-Mo was shocked. He didn't expect his immortal nirvana body would be damaged by such red light. But Yi-Mo didn't have time to change his tactics anymore. He could only use more immortal essence and spirit sense on activating Zisu. Immortal nirvana body? It's you indeed, Dai. Han Weichen knew he guessed right, seeing Yi-Mo was a body refinement cultivator. But the next moment, when tens of lightning bolts landed on him, he called out in shock, "Your spirit sense isn't reduced at all. How did you do it?" Yi-Mo wasn't going to reply. Black lightning sword followed wave after wave. He also cut out tens of spirit sense blades. The red tower smashed towards Yi-Mo like a meteor, while Yi-Mo's spirit sense had cut the border of this fatty's sea of consciousness. Immediately, Han Weichen's spirit sense withered, and his sea of consciousness was heavily injured. At the same time, he spat a mouthful of blood. The red tower that lost control smashed onto Yi-Mo's body, making him spit a mouthful of blood, but it also fell on the ground, losing its vibrance. Spirit sense cultivation method. Han Weichen called out in shock. At the same time, he smashed his fist at Yi-Mo. He couldn't use any more magic artifacts as his sea of consciousness was damaged. Yi-Mo's Zisu also hacked towards Han Weichen, spraying out mists of blood. Even though a great unity immortal only used his fist, the force was dominating. The fist locked the nearby space immediately. Even if Yi-Mo wanted to run, he would be able to break away from the immortal essence fist wind. Yi-Mo was shocked. He didn't expect the immortal essence binding of a great unity immortal punch to be the same as a powerful domain. There was no choice but to take it head-on. In his shock, Yi-Mo could only run his immortal essence like crazy while trying to use Zisu to block it. At the same time, he urged Shadowless to attack. The difference in cultivation level was too huge. Even though Yi-Mo had spirit sense, he couldn't take the upper hand in the battle. If it was in the extreme star canopy, he might be able to win, as Han Weichen's immortal essence would be bound too. Seeing the big fist smash over, Yimo wanted to use Zissou to block it, but he was missing just that one bit. Just when Yimo was extremely desperate, Han Weichen's fist slowed down. Yimo was overjoyed. Shadowless must have succeeded. He wasn't going to waste this opportunity. Zissou came before the fist and hacked down, illusion cloud Hua mountain strike. Such a cunning bastard. There was madness in Han Weichen's eyes as he punched, disregarding Zissou. Splurge Zissou hacked in the middle of the fist, splitting it in half, but it didn't slow down at all and punched Yimo. Yimo spat many mouthfuls of blood. He felt he was sucked up by the fist, and the crazy immortal essence on the fist kept passing over. A sliver of despair flashed in Yimo's eyes. He didn't expect a great immortal without spirit sense to still be this powerful. Even though he had Shadowless to help, he was still no match. If he didn't have an immortal nirvana body, he might be dead now. The endless immortal essence charged into Yimo's body. Yimo couldn't run away, but he knew when Shadowless was forced out of Han Weichen's body, that would be when he would be killed. Crack, there was a light sound, but Yimo knew his meridians cracked. But what made Yimo rejoice was that the ravaging immortal essence suddenly disappeared. Yimo fell down, and before he went unconscious, he saw Han Weichen's head fly out while Shadowless chased up to Han Weichen's essence spirit and devoured it. Zhen Bingyu held a black sword and grabbed Han Weichen's storage ring. Yimo breathed easy before he fell unconscious. He knew Zhen Bingyu wasn't a dark-hearted person. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.